You're listening to Hall and Hudd. Two guys talking about things. This show contains strong language. Listener discretion is advised. Let's start the show.
Yep, the Snyder Cut. Oh, man, I've been looking forward to this.
Looking forward to this?
Talking about it or watching it?
Talking about it. So I'll wait for the recording. I don't want to waste a drop of this.
Yeah. Terry, so whenever I have these conversations with Terry, I do have to structure him, Jim. So, I'll be reining him in occasionally.
Don't be talking about me like I'm the bad kid in class.
I didn't say that. I'm just saying.
And you're already pre-apologizing for what I'm going to do or not do.
No. I'm just saying that the conversation with Jim and I went a little different. So he's going to.
It was great.
I'm wrangling you in.
It was great.
I'm what we call reserved.
It was fantastic, but just like those sports broadcaster shows, I'm still going to be everybody's favorite character. They're going to be like, man, it ain't the same when Terry Ellison ain't there to kind of mess up their formatting.
You got to limit him to 4 F-bombs like the movie.
But no, you guys were great. If you guys do want some compliments, I thought you guys were great together. Oh, you had a nice small C conservative style of, talking back and forth.
Yeah.
So I dug it. I won't say that there's no merit to having two fucking teachers talk to each other.
Welcome to the Hallspace Podcast. It's about connections. I'm your host, Dr. Ritch Hall, and this is a weekly conversation about whatever and however I see to connect things. For people who want to connect, chat, and learn a thing or two about a thing or two. Without further ado, let's start the show.
All right. Welcome to the Hallspace Podcast. I'm Ritch Hall, and I'm joined by two very special guests on this Hall and Hudd episode. First off is my good friend, Terry Huddleston. Say hello to the people.
All right. Playing the role of the antagonist. Maybe, probably not.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And playing the role of the wise educator is my good friend, Jim Mclain.
Hey, how's it going?
There it is.
And I guess that would make me the protagonist.
Yeah, you're the one that has to choose between my evil, dark information versus Jim Light.
Right.
This isn't a race thing. It's just so happen to play out that way. But
yeah. And it's possible that Jim might have to die for me to move to the next act.
That's gonna happen. I mean, I'm gonna die too, but just in the end.
Right. You died Act 3. Jim has to die to kick us out of Act 2, right?
Exactly. So both mentor and anti-mentor, because both characters teach the main protagonist something.
In a good story.
One is like, hey, I'm going to show you some things, and then the other dude's like, I'm going to show you why all that's bullshit. And,
Right.
I just watched Guardians of the Galaxy again, part 2, for the first time in a long time. That movie is so good. Like, it's one of those popcorn movies. You're like, yeah, it's dumb fun.
Yeah.
But then I watch it again and realize it explains, and I'm not a Christian, but I used to be. And I used to try to have to explain the Trinity to people. And the Trinity is rough. It's like it's 3 people that are one thing, but are also 3 distinct different things. Yeah. And I would use an egg yolk analogy. You have or an egg, you got the hard shell is one substance, the white is another substance, the yolk is a different substance. The 3 substances make one entity called an egg.
Yeah.
But then Guardians of the Galaxy says, hold my beard. And it gives you Ego, who's personified as a man, the father.
Yeah.
Then you have the son, which is Star-Lord, but then you have the Holy Ghost. Who's the Holy Ghost? The blue magic, the blue energy, which is all, and they need all 3 to exist as one thing. He immaculately concepts Star-Lord with his mom, and which was, and Jim will know this, that was a playback to Starman. I think Jeff Bridges. I think they were kind of parrying like remember this.
Yeah.
So I was like,
I never even thought about the Starman connection, but that is absolutely
it's the best Christian movie never made. It also has a tyrannical God, which, think about it. Like, hey, son, so I got this plan. You're going to have to die, but like, it'll kind of save everybody else. But you're going to suffer, bro. Like, I kind of need you to get killed in order for my grand scheme to go through. So it ended up being James Gunn's sneaky, subversive, anti-Christian movie.
Yeah. Anti-Christian or just...
dude, if you go back and watch it thinking, look how they characterize Kurt Russell. Like, he looks like Yahweh. He looks like Charlton Heston Moses with his big bushy beard. Like, he could have looked like anything. He literally tells you, I chose the look that would appeal most to you. That was kind of like a wink. Like, you guys like this kind of Judeo-Christian Abrahamic look that I'm putting on, right? And I'm going to show you all this cool stuff and your birthright and you're my son and I look for you. But, in a Greek God kind of way, it shows that he actually had a lot of progeny and a lot of different kids. And it wasn't just one chosen savior kid.
He made multiple attempts. He was
multiple. Like, he had a graveyard of children.
Let's get into our discussion of Zack Snyder's Justice League. That's what's brought us here today. And we should
that's what's got this league together, this very unlikely
Right. And I'm always a fan of context and history. So we should discuss sort of what was the history of the Zack Snyder Justice League story or saga, right?
Personally, I think it's a great bit of a microcosm of how propaganda works.
And why do you say that?
Well, because we all, especially, we're all roughly within the same Venn diagram of fandom, age, all that. I know, Jim, you're slightly older, but you're not
a lot older.
You're not, but I'm still not going to go, you're so old, we don't even know what you're, like, we're all lame to our kids, okay?
Oh, yeah. We're old enough to be lame to all children. To most children, we're considered lames.
So our
demographic is squarely 35 and up.
We've lived long enough to see things that were historical game changers that also went on to get propagandized later, like 9/11, like, the Iraq War, like, this movie, like, we were there when it first came out. We kind of got our information real time, and it was like nothing. Like, literally everybody our age, and I'm speaking for people that's kind of watched the movies, like, yeah, that happened. All right, I'm moving on. Was like, okay, it's dead in the ground. But to see the propaganda that there's this other cut out there, and it has to be shown in order to vindicate this movie. And my editor brain was like, there's no fixing the plot points of this movie. This movie's fundamental plot bones are terrible.
Okay. I want to back out before, because I know what you're going to do if I let you. So 2014 is when Zack Snyder was officially said that he was going to be able to direct the Justice League. So it was before Batman versus Superman had come out. That didn't come out till 2016. And so we didn't quite know. We had only known him from Man of Steel, right?
Watchmen.
Well, we had known him from Watchmen as well.
And Watchmen, yeah.
Which I really like, by the way. I'm just going to say, I'm a fan of that movie.
It's a good movie. I feel like there are moments, and we should do a whole show on Watchmen. Terry would love to spend more time talking about Watchmen, the television show, because he is a big fan of that.
Love it. I don't like the movie too. The movie when it was like isolated and there was nothing to compare it against.
Yeah,
it was his own 2 feet. As a matter of fact, the worst things about that movie are the Zack Snyder isms. Like,
right, that's what I was going to say.
If he could have contained himself, because it was so on par with the Alan Moore stuff that I feel like, to be honest with you, I feel like if a James Gunn or somebody that knew how to direct nostalgia and fun could have did this, but also dark. That could have been. But for what it was, just like Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2, right? It's still within its context in its day. One of the greatest superhero movies of all time.
Yes.
Because
I feel like my reservations about Watchmen are the Zack Snyderisms. The fact that he has to go cool. And, Watchmen by it of itself is about people who became schlubs in a way, like, right? They outgrew being
They ruined that
superheroes.
aspect of it. They weren't losers. They were not losers.
Right. They should have been losers. And he can't do that. Like, the owl has to be cool and have a slow-mo fight.
We'll
it's
get
like,
into his
no.
Randyism later.
Right. But it's like, and the owl should be a guy who got pudgy and, he became your average 40-year-old.
He should be me. He should be me, rocking a dad bod.
He dropped out of that owl ship like he was 25 years old.
Right.
Like his knees was perfect.
Right.
That should have been came out too fast, guys. Give me a second.
Yeah, that's what it should have been.
I'm getting too old for this shit.
I got a little lightheaded. Hold on. All right. Well, where were we? Let's do it. And so
Zack Snyder movies.
Yeah, so Zack Snyder, having directed many different, what was considered, honestly, by other nerds, beloved comic book properties, be it 300, be it, what was that? Sucker Punch wasn't as beloved. That was probably...
It's a cult classic, though.
Yeah. Most people would call it a misfire. I feel like there are some similarities to Justice League in that it is him when he's let loose and over the top and he gets to do whatever he wants. And that sometimes he needs to be reined in by a property. And then, like I said, Batman versus Superman comes out. It's
Man of Steel.
Man of Steel happens. Man of Steel was relatively well received, except for some key poor choices that Jim is visually reacting to. So people in the podcast can't see
I
him.
didn't like it.
I will go off on Man of Steel like Terry goes off on Dark Knight.
Dark Knight Rises, actually. But it actually, that retroactively spills back into Dark Knight. So I will admit that I think Nolan is overrated, personally. We'll get to that. That's another
whole other conversation. Right.
But actually kind of tangential to this conversation about overrated directors.
Well, in a way, it can't be escaped, because part of the reason that the DC universe is the way it is because of Nolan's success. He has been a producer up until now. He's still a producer
His name popped up. His name popped up on there.
He's on Zack Snyder's Justice League because they essentially wanted him to add the realism that he brought to The Dark Knight, and to continue that as this is what the DC universe is going to be. We're going to tell these mythological tales about these larger than life heroes, and we're going to do it in a way that feels in reality. And I feel like that ends up, and when we get to it, like some of the flaws of Zack Snyder's Justice League are because of that realism. Like, they're underwater, they keep making these air bubbles because in a realistic way, how are they going to talk? And he just couldn't wrap his mind around how they talk underwater, even though the Aquaman movie never stopped. Like, you're doing fun. Like, nobody's going to really sit there and go, how are they talking underwater? And if that person asks that question, they're not in the movie. Like, they're bringing realism to it in a way that just doesn't make sense. So we have Nolan to thank and or blame for what could be some of the flaws.
And Nolan kind of, I think, once again, that's a bit of the propaganda around Nolan that he's really, well, all he did is he took the superhero genre and he reskinned the crime noir genre with it. Yeah, which is fine. That's what Marvel does, right? Yeah. I mean, he took the movie Heat and put Joker and Batman over Heat. Right. With a little bit of a few other movie spice, and he's a good thief. And artist stuff, right? Tarantino is the biggest diamond heister there is. I love him, but he's a thief. Like, I mean, when I say thief, I don't mean inspired by or whatever. I mean, go back and see shot for shot. Like, that's that scene from that.
He's taking things from better movies.
That's Pelham 1, 2, 3 or whatever that movie is. So with Zack Snyder is not a thief. He's not a thief. And he's just really up his own ass on what he does do.
Yep.
And so, like, he could learn to borrow from other people.
Because why would he do that?
He thinks he's doing Shakespeare.
Oh, he's pretty sure. You can tell he does believe. He's doing
the stilted dialogue is supposed to be these and thous, like, thou art Superman of Krypton and blah, 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 blah. Right. Dude, calm down with that.
I felt like many of the flaws of Batman versus Superman were the idea that these characters are trying to say epic things, which means they don't feel like they're talking to each other. They're instead trying to say the most epic thing that can be said next. Pretty much most of Lex Luthor's dialogue was, this is important because I think it's important. Kind of, it's like, it's not really exposition, yet it kind of is exposition. And, they're trying to be clever in this way that just didn't feel clever.
Well, they merged together the Riddler, the Clock King, and Joker in that character.
Yeah.
And look, if it would have worked, we would have been like, oh my God, Zack Snyder's a genius.
How'd he do it? Yeah.
He merged,
there are people who think that, which always blows my mind. There are people who are like,
he gave us a Riddler that was amazing in Lex Luthor. But what he and I gotta critique that movie real quickly. I'll do a synopsis of what I think Batman v Superman could have been. That could have set up this movie.
Yeah,
and I'll be fair and use the junk that I got. Like I'll treat the Snyderverse like a junkyard. These are the only parts I can use. I can't add or take away. I just gotta reformat. The only thing I can change is the plot. I would have done Man of Steel happens, even though I didn't like Man of Steel. That happened. And then Batman says, I cannot let Earth be vulnerable to an alien attack. I'm going to take the Kryptonian tech and synchronize it with Wayne tech to build defenses for the planet and obviously soup up my bat suit with Kryptonian armor. Like the armor was right there. Obviously, your bat suit should be made out of that shit. That's one. Two, Superman's
Ultron. That's how we get Ultron.
That is how we get Ultron.
Superman's moral quandary is I can't. This technology is too dangerous for mankind to have. So you get a Prometheus, the actual story of fire from the gods. Batman represents man. He takes fire from the gods, and he takes the technology because he's Batman. But then Lex Luthor gets it, and it proves Superman right. Like I told you that human beings can't handle this. Like I'm basically like they're gonna destroy themselves. Lex Luthor builds his super suit. Yeah, which would have been amazing. So we're getting a Lex fight, not an Abomination fight.
Right. Not the
between Batman, or excuse me, between Superman and Batman. Lex Luthor builds a goddamn kryptonite spear. Like it just they characterize it all wrong. It's like Batman builds a thing that kills Superman. I'm sorry, he did. Abomination did it, but no.
Yeah.
And so now he's all like, but I gotta do a thing. So you get this tonal whiplash. Like, dude, you wanted to murder his face last movie.
10 seconds ago.
Right.
Now you gotta build a thing for this bigger threat that's coming. What? And Superman in this thing, and I'm gonna stop because I don't want to spill out my beans, but he has no character. So he ends up being like a T-800 cyborg that has to be programmed. Every time he makes an action, it's because one of his father figures told him to do it. And that extends all the way from Man of Steel. Like, hey, fucking your deadbeat Earth dad is telling you to let people die to preserve your secret. And your deadbeat Kryptonian dad is telling you to go out there and be a god over the people. And then he does it. And then your deadbeat brother-in-law, Zod, is telling you, like, you're going to have to kill me in order for me to not... And he does it. Like he literally doesn't make that
Zack Snyder cannot see how superheroes are not murdered.
Let me give you one example that
I feel like the perfect merge would be Zack Snyder and Mark Miller, right? Like why aren't they just working together?
Yeah, Mark Miller knows how to subvert, but I mean he's also a Tarantino-esque kind of one-trick pony.
But I mean, ultimately, they're the two guys who should be working together, right?
Like I want to bring up Star-Lord, for example, on my example of a hero that picks a third way that you wouldn't expect. Especially in the first movie. You know, it's a cliche, big bad, wants the thing. And then Star-Lord starts dancing. None of us would have thought of that as an outcome to distract the bad guy. And yes, is it Marvel silly? Sure.
Yeah.
But actually, it's pretty damn inventive because they set it up. And from the very beginning, they showed that the guy likes to dance and he's got a little groove. And so they set up the payoff that comes later. Superman literally, in this movie, again, both of his fathers overlayered, tell him like, hey, go out there and be great. They have to edit Paul Kent to make it seem like, oh, now I want you to be Superman. Even though I kind of, for 2 movies, told you kind of not to do it. But now I kind of need you to do it because the plot needs you to go.
I was very frequently discouraging you. Yes, but now it'd be great if you could go ahead.
It's just all over the place. The TV show, the new one they got is better than this bull crap.
Yeah. I'm a fan of the new one, but we'll get to that in a second. Yeah. So, like I said, Justice League was announced, or Zack Snyder was said to be producing it before anyone had ever seen Batman versus Superman. So it's obvious that the studio had a lot of faith in Snyder's ability to pull off a good franchise.
I did too.
Yeah,
I had no reason for him to fail.
And then Batman versus Superman does not do what the studio thought it would do. And the studio starts talking about switching over to lighter fare. And that was in 2016. This is after the release. So the release of Batman vs. Superman happened in March 2016. In May, they put Jeff Johns and John Berg to produce Justice League and hoping to switch to lighter fare. So essentially try to Marvelize the DC universe. And then May 22nd, 2017, Zack Snyder says he's just stepping down from Justice League and the film isn't done. Right. And that's when we all start to go, wait, what's going to happen with this thing? And then we get the news that Joss Whedon's going to take over for him. Right. And we're all kind of optimistic about Whedon because Whedon did a solid job with the Avengers, an idea that most of us didn't think could work. He pulled it off with aplomb if we look back at what we were expecting and what we got with Avengers. Avengers 1 is a good, solid, how do you pull together 4 different genres of movie and make a decent action film with stakes and attitude.
You know, it actually took me a long time to decipher that code. I was like, how the hell did this work? It shouldn't have worked. Yeah. And I realized basically they learned from Peter Jackson, Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
You had 3 big, large ensemble cast movies in the third. Because I just rewatched that movie. That's what I learned. I was like, the Avengers movies, the Marvel movies are a lot like these movies.
Yeah.
Where you have major events per movie that lead to the ultimate event later.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of credit has to go back to Peter Jackson for opening up. Pretty much you have, a group of fantastical characters running around. One's the king that won't take his place. I mean, they're doing the same thing. They just, once again, it's got a different skin on it. And I'm not knocking it, but it's why Marvel's definitely got a keener eye for how to dissect something that's come before. And DC, not so much so. So, yeah, Snyder steps away. Whedon steps away.
Whedon takes over. Yeah.
Keep going.
And Snyder's saying that he isn't leaving because of any other issues. But unfortunately, there was a tragedy in his life. His daughter had passed. And so he didn't have the energy to finish the film. And it was a very unfortunate kind of situation. November 17th, 2017, Justice League is released, the Joss Whedon version of the film. And it grosses $657 million worldwide. And that's not considered nearly enough money in the face of what Marvel's doing with their tentpole movies. And so it was considered a critical and commercial dud. It's hard not to watch this film and think of the other film. Like, it's very much in your mind as you're watching it. I'll just say that for myself. I was constantly comparing it in my first viewing and being like, oh, some of the bad decisions that Whedon made weren't Whedon decisions. These were Snyder decisions that Whedon couldn't make sense of. So there's quite a few things that I'm still like.
I think too, that depending on where you are in that space, once again, this is a microcosm of propaganda and politics. Like, if you're a Snyder fan, you're like, see, Whedon ruined it by changing something that should have been left. But and I'm not a Snyder hater. But I'm also, when I'm watching this movie, I actually went in with this probably blank of a palette as I could. Like, you know what, it might be good. Because I'm hearing critics that I respect rush over this movie. I'm like, man, like, that dude is legit happy. And I realize it's a syndrome that I don't know what the term for it is. Maybe you can help me out. But I call it ex-girlfriend syndrome. Actually, I call it crazy ex-girlfriend syndrome.
Crazy ex-girlfriend syndrome.
Or crazy ex-boyfriend syndrome.
The crazy ex. You can just call it crazy ex.
Yes. And so the crazy ex syndrome goes, you had a crazy ex, but your new ex isn't crazy. Therefore, they're superior to your older ex.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm looking like, I mean, they're all right. They're not like the most whatever of all people, but by comparison to your crazy ex, sure. I mean, sure, it's different, but it's not better. I didn't think the Snyder Cut was better than the Whedon Cut.
I thought it was better, but I didn't think it was great as its own as a film.
If good is a threshold, neither one of those movies reach that threshold of good. So
I hear you.
Even if it's better by the fact that it's a little bit more cohesive, it still doesn't pass the threshold of good to me.
Yeah.
I watched them back to back. I watched the Snyder Cut on Friday, and then I watched the Whedon Cut yesterday. And I'm still sticking with the Whedon cut on this one.
Wow.
Yeah.
First, there's color. Color in the Whedon cut.
Yeah.
Zack Snyder. I hear now they're going to make a black and white version of Justice League.
He wants it. They're probably going to do it just because now
there's only 2% of the color left in it. They washed all the color out.
Right.
So, if anything, the Whedon cut had too much color, but Superman had the white highlights on the blue muscle suit. It did not look good in that epilogue where he races the Flash. But I don't even really mind the whole mustache thing. I didn't care about that at all. It's like the Whedon cut has.
I hated the mustache thing.
Humor in it. It's got humor in it. And it's like when Aquaman sits on Wonder Woman's lasso and he just sits there monologuing about how he really feels and stuff.
Yeah.
They lighten the mood right before they go into the big battle. And it's like the Snyder cut has no light moments at all. And that's why I described I described in the text to you guys earlier. It's like the Dementor of superhero movies. It feels like all the joy has left the world and you'll never be happy again. There's just nothing happy about this movie. And superheroes they have to have. And that's one of the things that Kevin Feige at Marvel has every director and producing crew sit down and watch Superman the movie before they make the next Marvel movie.
Yeah.
What did these guys watch? Psycho? I mean, it's black and white and it's terrifying the whole way through. There has to be some joy in a superhero movie. That just does. It can't all be bad.
So Snyder's not good at joy.
No,
at
clearly.
all. That's not his wheelhouse at all. He's very much. This is important. This is so important.
Oh, God.
The movie is very much self-important. I do want to do one last context thing, and that is to talk about Justice League by and of itself. Justice League of America has been around since 1961, where they fully formed in the pages of the Brave and Bold comic book to fight Starro the Conqueror. And who was in the original Justice League? Martian Manhunter, The Flash, Wonder Woman, and Green Lantern. And I feel like I'm missing a person. I didn't write it down.
Did you say Aquaman?
Aquaman.
Yeah.
So not even, Superman wasn't in the original Justice League.
Well, Batman
not.
showed up for 5 seconds.
Yeah, but went on to go through multiple iterations throughout its history. Most recently, Grant Morrison was the one run I remember loving the most. That was 1997. Mark Waid in 2003 did the Justice League, and he's the one who did the Batman Kills All the League story. What was that one called? I'm blanking on it.
Is it Brother Eye or something?
No.
Brother Eye was
Tower of Babel or something like that.
Tower of Babel, yes, the one where his plan is the one that Ra's al Ghul uses to take out the League. And so they've stood the test of time, gone through multiple iterations of characters, but almost always most people identify with the big 3+. So usually it's always Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman in some iterations, a Green Lantern. It's usually a different Green Lantern. Yeah. The Flash is almost always there. And John Jones, I believe, someone identified that he was usually the character that's almost always in the League.
He's gone for like 20 years at one point, though.
So is there anybody who's been like a stalwart, like they've always been the League? Because the Flash isn't even the Flash we know. Like, it wasn't Barry Allen. That was the other guy. What's the other? Thank you, Wally West. Yeah. So it's a team that is. Does it predate the Avengers?
Oh yeah. It predates Fantastic Four. Mm-hmm. That was the reason why they came up with Fantastic Four, is because they were playing golf and said, "Hey, have you seen this new superhero team that they had over at DC?" It's like, we should do something like that. That's where Fantastic Four came from.
Right. So that's the context for, this movie was DC's attempt to do the Avengers. Essentially, Avengers had made all this money, and Warner Brothers is sitting on this property that they should be able to make money off of. They've never been able to make money off a superhero film that wasn't Batman until
let's back up.
Superman the movie.
Superman the movie. Yes. Irony. Well, Superman the movie, that was Warner Brothers, right?
Yeah.
But that's also the Salkinds and all that mess, right?
Here's the great irony, though.
It was the biggest movie of the year. So
that you guys touched on. Every single one of Marvel's properties, save for maybe Captain America and Spider-Man, and maybe Thor, are ripoffs of DC characters, direct analogs.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah.
And so, and I I'm a Marvel sellout. I love everything Marvel does for the most part. And I'll call them out. Like, I didn't like Age of Ultron. I thought that was terrible.
Yeah, it was
in real time. I mean, we watched it together. And
I remember you were so disappointed.
Yeah, I was disappointed.
You were so disappointed.
So I get street cred of not being a Marvel shield. Like, I know a bad movie when I see it.
I mean, you're still a Marvel shield, but you'll call them on
that. That was a bad movie.
Yeah.
So DC's literally had the toys, the Lego blocks to build what Marvel has done. And so I think the biggest snub to me, and as a creative and also a competitive small micro business guy where I'm competing with other guys, and so you can see when somebody's made a bad move, almost like it's a sport. Like, wait a minute, DC, you let a tree in a pot outdo your whole universe. Marvel is selling baby trees to kids right now.
Yeah,
you're still struggling with Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman.
Right.
Yeah,
to get them out the gate. But then you think, well, what could they have done? They've had that's Green Lantern. That's the Green Lantern core. Guardians of the Galaxy is a Green Lantern movie that DC almost made, except for they put Ryan Reynolds back on Earth. They would have kept him in space, gave him the big unironic guy and Kilowog.
Yeah.
You know, you got Mark Strong was the perfect Sinestro.
Right. And give him
he's a great villain in every card. So
in every incarnation.
That was perfect casting.
And I include John Carter in that.
They even had a raccoon.
I didn't hate John Carter. You had Nort. Carter. You could have Nort, and you got your weird weirdo. You got
that movie.
Right.
You have Hal Jordan is Star-Lord.
Yeah.
You know,
Nort is Rocket.
That's what I'm saying. They got the movie. They fumble it. Right. Then Marvel comes out with. I mean, I know it's Sony, but Marvel still got the street cred with the Marvelverse, Spider-Verse movie. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Right. And you're like, oh man, young black kid from Brooklyn that has electrical. Oh shit, that's Static Shock. Idiots. Yeah. Idiots.
All right.
Or even Black Lightning just shrunk a little bit.
But now when they try to do it, we're all going to go, man, that seems a lot like Miles Morales.
Well, I mean, it's very telling that in this very conversation, we cannot talk about this movie without talking about the impact that Marvel made the precursor of this. It's like, it is very easy to know that some of the decisions in this movie were not made in a vacuum. They were made knowing that there was a competition between them and Marvel.
Came out and was like, oh yeah, I had all the Beatles songs like a year before they did. I just never released them. And it's like, but really, I should get all the credit. Like, well,
yeah.
I mean, if you don't know how to implement the arsenal you got, then you know, and so it's very much I feel like what DC could do to correct themselves right now today from the head of DC. They should pivot black. I know it sounds crazy, but they're not
going to do that.
Yeah, I know they're not. But Marvel's already eating their lunch again. You watch the new, and I'm only gonna do it very briefly with the Bucky
Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Yeah.
You see how chocolate that girl was in there? You see how chocolate that girl was in WandaVision? Yeah. That communicates to the brown communities that, hey, we're gonna represent you in our movies. You're not just gonna be ancillary characters that have to answer to the, you know.
Yeah.
And so I was like,
in some ways, Monica Rambeau was the protagonist of WandaVision, and if they had done it right, she should have been the main protagonist. While Wanda's
I don't think so.
Wanda's technically the villain.
Well, she's the villain and the antagonist at the same time. Which we'll get. It's Little Shop of Horrors, man. It's it's almost like if Steve Martin stopped Seymour. Like, no, that's not going to happen. Seymour is the villain, and he's also the victim at the same time.
Yeah.
And in the original ending, he dies like he's supposed to.
Right. You got to pay for your crimes. You got to pay for your crimes.
You know, but reason why I say that for DC has an arsenal of ethnic characters that they don't even bother with. I mean, look how high people are for Black Superman right now.
And people are mad about that. What are you talking about?
Nah, people are hype. I hear the hype and
I hear anger. But you know,
look, you can't please everybody.
There's an explicit anger around wokeness in these things, and so a lot of people are very upset at the idea that everything's going black these days, and so
I don't care about them.
That's zero sum. Racism right there.
That'd be like saying Stan Lee was being woke for creating Black Panther, right?
Well,
that was him being woke.
People believe that.
What years did he create that? Was that the 60s what was going on then that would make you create a black character? I don't know. I can't think of what was going on.
I think you might be thinking of civil rights. I think you might.
No, I think you mean the Civil War movie.
Civil rights. Not the civil rights.
Is that a Marvel movie? Civil Rights?
No.
Civil Rights, the epic saga. So I would do that. This is boots on the ground. This is the guy that goes to Comic-Cons across the country.
Yeah.
Black women are the future of nerddom. Now, I'm not saying like cater to them specifically at the exclusion of everybody else.
Yeah.
But I've said this shit years before today. Anybody that talked about was like, look, man, the people with money, this is pure capitalism, forget morality, are brown and female right now because they got all those nursing degrees and other middle academic degrees that are going to get you a nice, middle America income.
Yeah.
And now they're flooded with it. And so all you got to do is just inverse popular culture. Look how many shows are catered towards that exact demographic.
Well, yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
A lot more per capita. Now, look, it used to be angry white man was the thing they were shooting for. They had this dominance for about 15 years. Sopranos. Yeah. On up to Walter White, on up to Mad Men.
Yeah.
But now it's angry. That's been flipped. Now it's angry women in general. Angry white women, angry black women. That's the new thing that's being catered to because that's where the market is. And I think it's tough for guys to remember that women literally make up 50% of the population. Like a whole other half. It's not like they're this minority that we just kind of placate to. They're 50% of the planet is not us. But yet we keep leaving them out of the discussion when it comes to making entertainment. Yeah. And me included. My wife had to hit me on like, hey, so you don't have a lot of female characters and you damn sure don't have a lot of black characters on your wall. And I'm like, I had the same type of shit. And the minute I did what she told me to do, my finances skyrocketed. That's why I'm so passionate. I was like, holy crap. Like my finances pretty much are commensurate with what she told me to do. And I mean, they literally throw money at you because there's nobody out there representing their interests. And so I'm telling you, DC could make a move. Look, I mean, I'll go back to Monica Rambeau. He's a fucking C-list character. People love her. They love her.
She did lead the Avengers.
I'm talking about average Joe Blow on the street. Yeah. Comics. Not talking about comic book people.
Yeah.
Now, dude, I promise you.
Well,
see so
actually, she was the leader of the Avengers for several
nobody
years
knows that.
in the 80s.
If it wasn't in the movies,
it's to be known.
It's only us nerd wizards that know that that's the case.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so I love the fact that people love that. Like, I'm selling the character. I got a picture of the character I did a year ago, damn near. So I did the classic one, and thank goodness she was close enough to the classic one for me. Right. I have to redraw it. I'm being lazy. But and so I don't know that I'm bringing this up. It's not to flex. It's to show you that it's like people putting their money where their mouth is. This isn't just an opinion I got. This is like I got data to back up that demographic is definitely the way to go. And Marvel, I think it's why they're doing what they're doing by giving Wanda. Like, think about it. Wanda got to pretty much punt the ball in this new phase, right? We got a show that's basically centered around a female character. That's huge. Yeah. Like, what's funny is we were supposed to get Winter Soldier and Falcon first.
Yes, we were.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that. Like, we're supposed to get that first, which goes with the status quo. But this reversal, now we get all this pain and trauma as a kickoff, and it actually dovetails because now you're like, man, that's two brothers that are in pain and suffering in this next show. But
we're gonna get the buddy cop movie now. It's
right. The buddy cop show. Okay, so we got to pivot back, and before we pivot back, we're going to take a commercial. So thanks for joining us at the Hallspace Podcast. Another Hall and Hudd episode. We'll be right back after this.
Love, relationships, the church, the world as we see it today, and many more thought-provoking conversations. This season of Speak Kaya, She's Come Undone Talk Sessions, coming to your ears soon. Keep watching.
And we're back. So let's get into the actual movie, because I feel like we've done a lot of context and a lot of setup, but now we should talk about the actual film as it stands.
We've done more setup than they have.
What are you talking about? This movie was all set up, Terry Huddleston. To me, it was like...
I'm talking about pre-movie.
Oh, yeah. No, here's the thing about the movie. I realized that. I tried to watch it a second time, and I was like, they don't really explain a lot about who these people are, even. Like, you don't even get full names. Like, she's called Mrs. Lane, and that's, her name, Lois Lane, doesn't come up until way into the movie. You see Bruce Wayne, and then he says, you dress like a bat. So it's like, oh, okay. A random viewer could put together Bruce Wayne as Batman. I mean, they're just assuming we all know the who these characters are, because we've either watched the other two movies, or you just go in with a foreknowledge. You don't have to take a minute and say Bruce Wayne, also Batman, Barry Allen, The Flash. Like, I feel like, was Wonder Woman's name? Like, their names were never used.
Wonder Woman.
Well, they said, Diana, what did you do this weekend?
Yeah.
And they didn't mention, Diana Prince. They didn't mention Wonder Woman.
I don't think she's been called Wonder Woman yet in any of her movies.
Yeah. And that might be among the mandate that the only person who ever gets called Batman is Batman. But nobody else is called a superhero name. Like, Cyborg's not called Cyborg. But like, you're just sort of given a character and a ton of...
I think Superman is called Superman, though.
Superman is definitely called Superman. A ton of visual context on where the person is at that point in the story, but it's not really like, I don't know, I felt like there was something missing in how you were introduced to each person. And so it definitely went more for mood than for, you know what I mean, like exposition. It was very much,
and Rich,
here's the mood.
That very scene you're talking about, where Aquaman and Batman are talking, it frames the entire problem with the DC movies. Is that when Aquaman says, so you dress like a bat. It's like, we worked 20 years in Gotham. It's like, and they treat that like it's something crazy. Okay, you're making superhero movies. Don't make fun of superheroes. That's the whole thing. Yeah. It's like when you are laughing at your own genre, then you're in trouble. And
I'm reminded of
right off the bat.
That reminds me immediately of the scene in X-Men.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to.
Where it's like, what would you rather us be in spandex? And it's like, yes, spandex. Actually, just wear the spandex. We're already doing something fantastic. And sure, the leather costumes are cool, but are they fun? And actually, they weren't.
Think of this. Think of this. This is another boots on the ground observation that only somebody in my position can have. Not that I'm a special unicorn boy.
Sure, Mr. Snowflake.
Think of the divide between how many of your kids like anime versus the execs at these companies, right? Right. Like they're so busy trying to lampshade their characters as far as trying to like, oh yeah, we know they're silly. Meanwhile, the kids like the craziest shit.
They do.
Their favorite show is My Hero Academia. This is what I'm saying about how up their own ass DC is. Like, get somebody that's like 30 in there that can be like, hey, so kids actually love this shit. Quit trying to cater it to fucking 50-year-old, 60-year-old, gray-haired comic book fans, and let's do a Nightwing movie. Let's do a Nightwing movie and make $1 billion because he's hot and Asian.
Yeah, and he punches
Asian people. Like BTS. I mean, look, like it's like they're not looking around at what is hot right now.
Right.
This big group ensemble of hot Asian boys dancing is the hottest thing in America right now. Right. Slap superhero costumes on something like that. Yeah. Wait a minute, what's that called again? Oh, the Teen Titans. Oh yeah, that group they already got ready to go. That's young and hot. Right. What do they do with it? They make it grimdark. It's dark. It's not your daddy's Teen Titan.
And one of the very first scenes in the movie, you got him making fun of the superheroes. And it's like, well, that's not the way you start off.
Right. But I mean, they got to wink to the audience and let them know this is absurd. So strap in for absurd. Also,
I mean, yeah.
I realized when Aquaman walks into the water and that girl starts singing, I'm like, oh no. They're going to slow this movie down at every turn.
Smells the sweater. She smells the sweater. Like,
and I'm like, oh no, they're going to slow this movie down every chance they get. Because I'm like, why is this happening?
I start laughing.
Yeah. I was just like.
I got happy. because I didn't think the movie was going to be the kind of bad I needed it to be. Until that, like, I was like, oh shit, this is going to be worse than I thought it was going to be.
Yes. Because
like I said, hearing the reviews, I'm like, oh, it's going to be competent. And so it'll just be mediocre. But no. This is the Room plus 4 hours, right here.
I honestly want to riff tracks this movie. I really.
Yes, I'm right there with you. Man.
I was like, oh no, they're going to slow this movie down every chance. Because when the girl started singing, I was like, okay. Like, I immediately made they've got a ritual around when he goes into the water.
Actually, the first dumb thing for me was Batman's, a.k.a. Bruce Wayne, hiking over the Himalayas or wherever the fuck he was.
Take a boat. Take an ice skimmer.
Right.
Something.
Like, dude, do some Batman shit. Like, jump out of a thing in your super suit.
Yeah.
And, like, it's something.
Right.
Like you know how many weeks that would take?
Enough to grow a full beard.
Full beard.
And so it's like, on the one hand, you're saying time is of the essence, but also I'm going to get on a donkey and traverse a mountain.
But then after that, he's on a helicopter and jumps on a plane.
Right.
And so, like, right off the bat, I was like, this movie is dumb. They want me to think that this is so cool that Bruce Wayne is rugged. He's a man. He's rugged enough to basically hike over a mountain to hopefully meet a guy called the Aquaman.
Right. Talks to fish.
That saves people from boats, and he's super dark and dour and drinks all the time and lives in the ocean, but pops up here and what?
Right. Oh, yeah. And the fact that, I need to back up a little bit because the fact that this scene, the opening of the movie is actually Superman's death. So to remind you that other movie that was not critically acclaimed. Yeah, just in case we forgot. The other movie that was not critically acclaimed is the catalyst for this movie. And that when Superman died, his scream rang out. And that was another moment where I realized, And I'm like, oh no, they're going to take this movie as slow as he wants. Like, no one told him to speed this up. We need all these scenes of rippling sound waves.
All 4 hours, baby. All 4 hours.
All 4 hours. If he could have got more, if he could have got another hour, he would have squeezed it out if he could have. Because there was so much
He should have left in the Wheaton jokes.
That people were doing other shit.
Yeah.
Like, it'd be like if 9/11 happened and you heard it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, we were fucking watching TV when that second shit hit. Like, who's not watching a goddamn Superman fight an alien on TV and have to kind of be woken up like, oh, something happened in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever could it be? You know, it's just one of those movies that the minute you pull at any type of thought thread, that's a mouthful. Like, it starts to unravel on itself. Like I said, Batman built the thing that killed Superman.
Yes.
Yep.
Like, what?
And I know that studio execs have been trying to pull off the Superman dies storyline for so long, for most of what I'll consider my lifeline.
Well, how many times are they going to film it? We have once in live action and twice in animation now.
Yeah.
How many times do we need this?
But there's someone in the studios that love the idea. They love Superman dead, dying, and resurrecting because of the Jesus metaphor. And they love evil Superman. They just love evil Superman. We'll get to that later, though.
And they still don't get that Superman's not supposed to be Jesus. He's supposed to be Moses.
Yes.
Jesus, he's supposed to be Moses. Yes.
He's supposed to lead you to the promised land.
And he's supposed to be internally conflicted. Like, he's not Jesus in that he's built to be a nice person. He's struggling with a level of powers that it's just hard to comprehend, and just a certain type of, okay, I got to be better than I am, because
Donner did it best. Donner did it best. They show you, for no matter how powerful he is, he can't keep the people that he cares about most from dying eventually.
Yeah.
Now, that was a powerful moment.
He can't keep them safe. Yeah.
I get teared up when his dad dies. And I'm teared up now when his fucking Lois Lane dies. I'm right there with you, Superman. Yeah. That's all I need. I don't need like a big Earth destroyer thing coming down. And
there are people he cares about deeply, and they're going to die. Porn. Yeah.
And so you take the...
Are you sure? Are you sure he shouldn't level a city block every time something bad happens?
Because what that Snyder thing was him trying to pay homage to the God yell that Kal-El does. Like, which was, once again, a powerful scene. There's two of them that are good from that era. Superman's, and actually Bill Bixby in the Incredible Hulk pilot. Like there's a scene like when he first turns and he gets hurt and he does like a and I was like, man, that is an excellent primal scream, and then with this one with the voice modulation,
I thought it was Aquaman for a minute because we saw the waves of coming out
underwater. Yeah,
and start talking to fish.
Right.
Even the fish heard that scream.
Bruce Wayne is essentially the protagonist of this movie, the rich man whose means and drive will save the planet, right? He's handing out his card in a fishing village and saying, which is the whitest man way of introducing yourself is to show up to a fishing village in the middle of nowhere and hand him a business card.
Well, dude, no. The tone deficit of the brown Pacific Islander dude saving a bunch of white people. I'm sure like that meant nothing to Zack Snyder. I'm like, all right, so these guys are like in the hinterland. Like they would be ethnically homogenized against anybody brown coming from the goddamn ocean.
And they're able to survive out there. They don't live there if they can't survive. But somehow Aquaman keeps showing up to save them. What's going on there?
And then we pull out the old trope where, I knew how to speak your language all along.
Right. Right.
Oh my God.
Right. But he's Batman. He's smart. He's smarter than everybody.
But this Batman is kind of doofy. Like he doesn't come off like when Robert Downey Jr. says like, you believe it. You believe that motherfucker's got 8 PhDs in something.
Yeah, when he shows up and says, no one else did their homework. I learned about it last night. And you're like, okay. He commanded the room. But Batman comes off as this guy who's like constantly behind the
Batman's fucking Joe Rogan. He's Joe Rogan in this goddamn movie. He's a big, dumb guy that people think is kind of deep and smart, but he just smokes a lot of weed.
Well, and he's rich. He's rich as heck. He's Elon Musk, basically. He's Elon Musk.
Seems like he could have afforded to fix his house.
Why would he do that? Why would he do that? It's a tomb that he did.
It's him relating to his past. Like, with that movie.
So much slow-mo. So already a minute into the movie, like I said, I realized you're just going to slow-mo the heck out of this, and no one's ever going to say you could have done that in 5 seconds. We're just going to slow the movie down. And
dude, when the chick runs up the wall, it's like, I'm like, is she Spider-Man now? It's like,
well, here's the thing. I was so confused. Like, what is she doing? Oh, wait, she's going to attack a guy who's coming at her? Like, that was the most inefficient way to do that attack. Like, you had to turn your back to that
person. It wasn't inefficient. It was like, I almost said something. Shut the damn door. Just leave.
Just leave.
Like, leave. Like, why are you still here?
Yeah. Yeah.
And can Steppenwolf fly or can he just jump?
He can jump really far. Right.
How do you jump out of a collapsing building to get that much momentum to also, like, he jumped like past her, like, get out of here with this movie.
Right.
It's just, like,
come on, get to the Wonder Woman part because I gotta go.
Which one? The Wonder Woman?
The music?
I think next is the Wonder Woman bank heist. Is that what happens next?
Museum. Well, museum heist. They're gonna blow the place up.
They're just gonna blow the place up. Which thematically, from a story point, you shouldn't like. You can have the hero doing things that don't have impact on the story, but if just spend 5 seconds making it tie back in, like, okay, random guys show up to blow up a what's his name? I heard another reviewer say that heist was similar to the bank heist in The Dark Knight. Yeah, but I really felt like, I mean, maybe if you're trying to like do a through line, excuse me, but I felt like it wasn't as good, right?
No, not at all. Not at all. It felt like a pale imitation of the Nolan one. And Nolan's one, once again, he's doing Heat. Like he's doing, he stole from a better source, but a copy of a copy ends up being degraded.
Right. And in that you learn, in Dark Knight, you learn, okay, Joker is a chaos agent. He's willing to ruin his own heist. He didn't even ruin the heist. He pulls it off, even though he's acting chaotically throughout the heist, right?
I mean, he's an anime character, right? Yeah. He's like, I read the script, and so I know everything that's going to happen. I got my problems with Dark Knight because I felt like out of the whole Batman trilogy, Batman is never Batman for not 1 second.
Oh.
And two, Nolan clearly loves the villains. And at least the Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises more than he loves the hero. They actually have more fleshed out motive and drive, and they're more dynamic than the hero. And so you're like you're never excited when Batman's on screen. When Joker's on screen, you're sitting up in your seat like, oh, what's he gonna do?
Right.
So back to Wonder Woman.
So
this scene, Go ahead.
Well, first,
I gotta say one thing with the one scene.
Go ahead.
When she goes to toss the case up, I counted it. It was 35 seconds before she came back down to stop. And it was by the grace of God that guy's first gun wasn't loaded. Right. And he decided to shoot down sights for some reason. Like, why do you have to scope somebody that's right in front of you?
Right. When you're shooting with an automatic weapon.
Like you're shooting with an automatic weapon. And they show a shot of him flicking it to automatic just for the dumb heads.
In slow motion.
Just for the dumb heads. It's like, those people should have been dead.
All right, let me jump in right here because this is...
Go ahead. This is you.
So this is going to throw back to Man of Steel and why Zack Snyder does not understand superheroes, because here it comes. So Wonder Woman gets back just in time to start deflecting all the bullets as he's shooting the submachine gun, which shoots 600 to 900 rounds per minute. That's 10 rounds a second minimum. She's bouncing every single bullet, moves the guy's head out of the way, right?
Yeah.
She's that fast. She gets there just as he finishes the magazine. It's empty. So he says, "I don't believe it," and she goes, "Believe it," or something like that. So they exchange dialogue.
Right.
And he ejects the magazine, and once again, slow motion.
Yes.
Ejects the magazine,
pulls another magazine,
puts another one in. Yeah. What's she doing?
She's waiting to murder him in front of children. Is what
exactly. Exactly. I'm like, you have super speed until you don't
need it. Yeah. But she wants to blow him up in the most awesome way possible.
No, Terry, I'll let you go on for 20 minutes. Go ahead. So then what does she do? She goes, boing, and explodes the entire wall of the museum out.
Right.
I'm like, do you not understand? You could have disarmed him while he was talking to you.
Right. So he showed up to blow up a building, and what did you just do? You just blew up a floor of the building, like in front of children. These children just watched you pulverize a man after they watched you break like 4 necks.
And they're not going to be traumatized at all.
No, there'll be no repercussions.
In the hell? What?
But Jim, she stopped to comfort them and then told that little girl she could be whatever she wanted. So obviously she's a hero. That's how you know.
I'm sure that kid was listening.
I actually called that line. Me and my son are like my oldest. Yeah. And I said something like, "You look like me. I'm going to give you a speech." And then she did it. Then she actually does it. One thing Jim brought up that I think is the major, like if I had one thing to fix, they just said, "Terry, you can fix one thing," is that they didn't establish power levels at all. Because
why would you do that?
Back in my brain, it was like, why do we need Superman again? Like, what makes Superman special? You guys haven't set up in universe what makes him special over Wonder Woman.
People keep saying it. People keep saying he's special.
He's just as strong.
No. The people keep saying he's special.
She can fly. And she's not allergic to kryptonite.
No, Batman keeps saying he's special.
But it's like we keep saying we need Superman because
Batman said it, Terry. The rich white man said he was special. So you need Superman.
As Steppenwolf.
But what about what the rich white man said, Terry Huddleston? The rich white man said we really need this guy.
Because and so it ends up being the Justice League problem, which is where Marvel delineated themselves from DC, is they don't have a bunch of strong people that could fly on one team.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have like 5 Visions on one team. It's Vision's the only one that's pretty
Which is why they got rid of Vision so fast in Infinity War.
Exactly.
Which is why they depowered Thor.
Yeah.
They made sure that they were like, okay, so you think these guys are going to solve the problem? They've got their own problems.
So when you go back and watch the Whedon cut, then all that scene ends with is her just going bong, and you don't see what happens. You figure she takes him out, but you don't figure she kills him and blows out the wall, blows up
the whole wall, and or endangers the cops.
Sending shrapnel down on the cops. It's like raining death from above. It's like
right.
They just like cut away. Hey,
and the only reason they could have blown up the thing at any time, but the only reason they took hostages was to negotiate with the cops. Like what? It didn't even make sense.
Slow down the cops.
Right. And how does that slow down the cops? Why do you need a timer on a explosion when you're planning to?
I don't know. They could have just
suicide bomb yourself. Right.
Just push the button. What are you waiting
Dead man trigger. Right. But instead, like, so it doesn't actually make sense once you think about it for more than a second.
Like, when Man of Steel, ended with the neck snap and everybody went, well, he had no choice. He was, in a position to do that. It's like, no, the writer put him in the position.
The writer put him in that position.
And the writer put Wonder Woman in this position. They actually clearly had options.
They did the same thing, actually. You just reminded me that the fucking people were just sitting there like they're being directed not to move.
Right.
Like Wonder Woman is engaging the guy. Like, get the fuck out of there. They're like, no, we have to be here. Otherwise, this scene has no tension.
Especially when he runs out of ammunition and ejects the magazine.
Right. I'm going for the door.
I can see if it was like a couple of people, but it was like a big it was, you know what I mean? He couldn't see the periphery. I would have been that kid that's like, hey, I'm living. Like, I don't give a shit. What y'all doing? And so it was just so weird. Like, Zack Snyder has such a weird point of view. You can tell he's never experienced urban life a day in his life. Like, it seems like he's just kind of, I learned everything I know off of TV and comic books. And so you would think that'd be a plus to a comic book movie, but what makes Marvel movies and movies that are good, even Brightburn had some moments to it that was like, man, what would it be like to have a really bad kid?
Right.
Okay, layer that on a really bad kid with Superman powers.
Right.
Ouch, that'd be a nightmare. And so that movie ended up resonating with me because you can't pick what personalities your kid get. And some people have kids that grow up to be murderers or gangbangers or whatever. So I got the analogy. Like, it's not like, oh, that could never happen. Like, yeah, you could have a kid that grows up.
But what if the gods occasionally, blow stuff up, Terry Huddle? So what if they come to Earth and blow stuff up? This is mythology.
They're above the reproach of man. Therefore, you can't judge them. Yeah. I mean, it almost had like this weird propaganda of that there's this secret. Once again, I don't think Zack Snyder actually realizes the stuff that's coded into his movies personally. So I don't think he's being evil or trying to put out a wink to anybody. But I feel like alt-right people and people that are in these subversive groups goes, we need a powerful coalition to stop fill in the blank. Because you got these ambiguous bad guys that kind of look black, let's be honest. Darkseid looks like an African fucking warlord, let's be honest. But he
now
can
you
be
go back to
Xerxes. He can be a
stand-in. Now you go back to the subtext of 300 where
exactly. He
was
can be
the brown hordes.
They can be, they're these, all they want to do is war. They don't want to feed their kids. They don't want to have sex with women. They're built to fight us, and only us good-looking white people can stop them.
Yeah.
With some help from brown people, but mostly beautiful white people need to form together and stop these evil. I mean, look at them. They're
come to destroy.
Rock.
Yeah.
And so, once again, that's one of those things where I don't think Zack Snyder is thinking about that, but he keeps making movies that make it seem like fascism is the answer. Like, if we could just get the powerful people together, then we can stop the other equally powerful villain that wants to just. I mean, what was that dialogue, Jim? That I'm the darkening will be your enlightening type of, like, what the hell? Who wrote this? A angsty 14-year-old?
All of a sudden, I thought he was Ronin for a second again.
Yeah, it was like
he sounded like what's the word I want? The guys who just have to do what they got to do no matter what. You know the word I want. Darn, I hate when that happens.
Is it from a particular culture or?
No. It's okay. We can go on.
Just the dialogue was bad. That really, like, the bad guy's motivation was the darkness is darkening the dark of darkness. It was like, okay, guys, like.
No, people are like, I think, people are really talking about Steppenwolf as better this time. They rounded him out a little bit, but he never felt fully formed. And in so much as, okay, now he's a tired warrior who's been out here doing this for so long. But even then, they're like, you owe Darkseid 5,000 more worlds. I'm sorry, 50,000. 50,000 more worlds, which is like okay, was that epic for the sake of being epic? Like, that's just like throwing out a money number because it sounds big? Because 50,000 more worlds sounds just, what?
It sounds stupid.
Right.
Fanatic. That's the word I wanted.
Right. Fanatic. Yes. Sorry. Yeah. Oh, the Wonder Woman yodeler. Did we talk about the Wonder Woman yodeler? That suddenly
a little bit.
The Wonder Woman music had this yodeler in it. It
so
was like,
that music got canceled. a while back because they realized that one, it was a white woman doing it, and two, that it doesn't come from any culture. It's ambiguously ethnic, is what they call it.
Yeah.
And so for Zack Snyder to use it unironically after Key and Peele buried that song.
Yeah.
With the Flickr episode where the me and my son were rolling every time. Like, who the hell thinks this is like Ridley Scott used it in Troy? I think was the first one to use it.
Yeah,
he pretty much commissioned, but then it kind of got ate like almost like a sound effect. And so the fact that it was like this kind of generic ethnic yodel. Yeah, every time she showed up, and I know
every time she showed up.
Every time.
Was like, what?
I because I'm hard of hearing, I was watching with closed captions, and every time it happened, lamentation music. Every time.
But why? Like, why lamentation music for Wonder Woman? Like, what's the lament?
I don't know.
Please help me understand.
That she was in this terrible movie?
Oh. I mean, in her
song. I liked her other theme better.
Right. I hated that one too, but it was better than this. Once again, neither one passed the threshold of good. But I tell you who has a dope theme song that you don't think has a theme song is Winter Soldier, man. His theme song is tight.
His theme song is good because it speaks to like it's schizophrenic. Like you're like, oh man, he is in a zone of death and murder.
It's like Trent Reznor made that or something.
Right.
Speaking of music, we lost most of the Danny Elfman soundtrack.
Oh yeah, we did.
Because I was watching the Whedon thing yesterday. I was like, oh, there's that Batman theme, and there's almost the John Williams Superman theme. I was like, no, we lost all that.
They were like, nope.
No.
Snyder has no place for that.
Too cutesy. We don't like that.
Right. It's got to be dark.
These are Zack Snyder's Batman. This is Zack Snyder's Superman.
It's so okay. I do need to speak to that. So it was like Zack Snyder wanted to play in as many toy boxes as he could. So it's like he's got to do Gotham as noir. He's doing Central City as like this kind of chaotic place. Cyborg doesn't really have Cyborg has a home, but not really a world of his own. And there's this strangeness to the fact that he just wants to play with all the toys in the toy box rather than kind of honing in on what this movie is. He's like, let's go over here for a little while. I know I just told you there are stakes, but this guy's also trying to get a job at a dog walking company, huh? Funny, huh? Okay.
So lame.
Cyborg plays football, huh? We're gonna have a flashback that we didn't tell you was a flashback. Like it's just like a lot of like him bouncing around from world to world, which I felt like was not cohesive.
And speaking of Cyborg playing football, I noticed the Under Armour product placement on his varsity jacket.
No, that wasn't an advertisement.
I've never seen an Under Armour varsity jacket. I've never seen that. I didn't know they sold those.
Well, you do now.
You do now.
But you have to.
Advertisement worked.
Product placement in superhero movies is a tradition because Superman the movie, you got that box of Cheerios in Ma Kent's kitchen, and you see it sitting on the table. It's like larger than
Superman
life.
eats Cheerios. Oh,
but then the camera goes outside. And it's still facing you.
Because it has to be.
That box has two fronts on it.
Because Superman eats Cheerios.
That's right.
Jim, Superman loves Cheerios.
Oh, what about Superman 2 had even more? That was like
Marlboro, Coke. We had it everywhere.
Yeah. And I forgot to say this when I was talking to you, Jim, about Superman. My all-time favorite line read in the Superman movies is, "Woo, Jack, that's a bad outfit."
Jim.
That's a bad outfit.
Jim, that's a bad outfit. I love it.
My wife just laughed for the next room because she heard me.
That's one of those things.
No, Jim. Jim. That's a bad outfit.
Yeah, that's lost to black culture, black pimp culture, actually. Right. So, like, they will respect somebody walking around in a red cape and blue tights. You know, but I think the average person is like, that's funny that he said that, but that guy was clearly coded as a pimp. Like, you know.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. You know.
Okay, so one more thing I want to say about the Amazonian fight is, I had this problem in the Whedonverse version and in this version, but the Amazonians are a finite resource, right? Like they don't like Atlanteans will create more Atlanteans, but the Amazonians don't give birth. So if you murder 2,000 of them, they're gone, right? Like I could not be thinking of that as the guy is throwing horses at them, I'm just thinking, wow, he's just decimated a quarter of their population. And we're supposed to like be okay with that, I guess.
A couple Steve Trevors might show up every once in a while, washed up on the shore.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. I thought about that too, because it kind of showed them. They have these varying age groups of the Amazonians, and I'm like, how? One,
right.
Two, like, did you get that they said Wonder Woman was 5,000 years old?
Yeah,
did anybody
they did.
else hear that?
Well, no, they didn't say Wonder Woman was. Her mother was. Did they say?
Yeah.
No, they did. Because Flash was saying, do you think she'd go for a younger guy? And
he did.
She was 5,000 years old. It's like, what?
I'm like, what a dumb number. 5,000, like 5 millennia. Like, no. Mm-hmm. It's all like plus the whole problem with because we can get into 184 a little bit is that it feels like
no.
I know, right? It feels like the Amazonians are literally just useless.
Yeah.
Like they're not a proactive military force. Because they're not protecting anything because they fucking suck at that. Like that whole military unit got bested in like 2 seconds.
Well, I wish it was 2 seconds, Terry. I wish it was 2 seconds. It was like 10 minutes of movie.
It was 2 seconds, and then in slow mo.
Right.
It was 2 seconds in the Whedon cut.
It was so much movie, and that was honestly one of the first times that I said to myself, "Okay, I get why Whedon was like, I'm going to trim here."
I was understanding Whedon. It just actually made me defend the Whedon cut, right? Because I'm like, dude, because you can't polish up a turd, dude. Right. Like if your plot structure is terrible, right, and you only can mitigate the damage that the bad plot's going to do. And I don't know if you guys caught wind of what Zack Snyder wanted to do, where he wanted to have Lois Lane is pregnant with Batman's baby.
Yes, I was going to get to that at the end.
Okay, I'll save it.
I'll save it for the end. We'll talk about the nightmare sequence.
In the Amazonian section, we also had to see the slow motion ab roll. It came from 300 to say, he has some obsession with the down. And
it's like, I know this is Zack Snyder at his most indulgent. So he's doing this over the top scene that takes forever. And at this point, Steppenwolf has obstacle after obstacle and they're fighting so hard, but it goes on for so long for it to ultimately mean they wasted resources and energy and it was futile the whole time. And there's an element of that that's like, okay, I get it, but also you spent a lot of time for the real information is they were willing to fight to the death. And
they did.
And you spent so much time on that. And I can understand another dude watching this movie and being like, well, we got to cut some of this out. Like, I know it's cool. He threw a horse at somebody, but also like, I barely care about them as people because they're just toys at this point. Yeah. So we can spend less time smashing them.
That's all of Snyder's characters. I always said he directs like he's directing action figures.
Right.
Like an 8-year-old in a tub just smashing them together.
Yeah.
How come we haven't talked about how stupid that Batman costume looks in the face?
Oh.
It looks like fucking 1980s, like when they didn't really know how to do like uniforms. Because it's what delineates Marvel from DC. I had to figure out, other than the way they do their genres, like how come their costumes don't ever mess with my eyes? Because they don't do costumes, they do uniforms. Every character has a uniform that they wear. Thor is wearing a uniform, not a Thor costume. Yeah. Wanda finally got her Wanda uniform, but it doesn't like make her look like she's cosplaying. Whereas DC's characters, even Wonder Woman looks like she's cosplaying Wonder Woman. Like
I thought it looked like she was cosplaying Xena myself.
There you go. And I'm not going to disagree with that. But
one of the things that I had to think of when watching the Wonder Woman sequence, kind of speaking to what you said, the Amazonians are they're stuck in an age that is apparently 5,000 years ago. But in that amount of time, the people of Apocalypse have come up with boom tubes, which they were significantly unprepared for. So while they're in the nobility of horses and swords, this other race has advanced to the point that makes their defenses essentially useless. Because once he gets a beat on you, he can just boom tube in, kill 1,000 of you, and then boom tube out once he's got what he wants.
Well, you brought up another plot hole that I was going to bring up. they show, once again, they're trying to be cool and do fan service, so they show a dead Green Lantern Corps. Yeah. I'm like, wait a minute, the Green Lantern Corps was on this planet, and y'all thought it was a good idea to put all three of your dumb plot devices in the same
planet. Yep.
In the weakest planet, by the way.
Yeah.
But then
go ahead. You say your thing.
They switch MacGuffins, which we can get to that later, where they switch to the anti-life equation. Like
my God. Yeah, let's wait for that for a second, because I need to flip out about that. But the funniest part to me was, give it to the Atlanteans. They're a somewhat advanced race. They keep it under guard. Give it to the Amazonians. They keep it under guard. They build a whole fortress and put 1,000 people that know they're going to die in the room. Give it to the humans. They just bury that shit. just dig a hole, cover it up, and just hope it never becomes a problem again. Which to me is like, that's some human shit to do, isn't it?
I'm surprised it wasn't sitting next to the Ark of the Covenant.
Right. It's like, great. Oh, well, what should we do? Humans, just bury it. Let's just put it underground. We'll just hope it's fine. We won't put anything there to stop people from going there. We won't put anything around it to say that that's important, sacred space. We'll just bury it in the woods. That's the future's problem.
Pretty much, yeah. It was so they were trying to do Lord of the Rings.
They were. That was totally Lord of the Rings, which also speaks to, you just messed yourself up as far as story logic is concerned, right? To turn Darkseid back that time, you had to have all the nations of men, the Atlians, the Amazonians. You needed like thousands and thousands of people who seem to have suddenly worked out intercontinental travel in 5,000 years ago. But now you're just going to need 5 people with powers. So if you could get those 5 people together.
It's even worse because technically 2 people, like he fought a Green Lantern guy, killed him,
took his arm off,
another guy.
Worst Green Lantern
Then a third guy.
Worst Green Lantern ever.
Then a third guy came and chopped him with an axe and he was done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, so it wasn't even like Darkseid obliterated a whole army or no shit like that. Right. And so they instantly nerfed him in my eyes. Like if I'm watching a wrestling federation, I'm like, that dude sucks.
Right.
And then they have this ambiguous failure from Steppenwolf. You're like, only person we saw fail is Darkseid.
Yeah.
So now I got that disconnect. I thought they were gonna do a plot device, which could have worked, where actually through some voodoo magic, Steppenwolf pretended to be Darkseid, and that was Steppenwolf getting his ass kicked in the beginning, and that's the failure. And that's also why Darkseid doesn't know that Earth, the place he got his ass kicked, has an anti-life equation.
Right. His biggest failure.
Also, why Steppenwolf knows. I told you, editing. Just a little bit of editing.
Yeah. Right. Which is why that's what Whedon did, though. Whedon made it Steppenwolf who got turned around and had to come back for his mother boxes, which is the smarter play, because then it makes sense from a story point of view. Yep. You didn't make, you had a past failure. You're stronger now. You would have come back and take this planet again. And that's right. The anti-life equation is here. I forgot. Did I forget over 5,000 years? Did I not leave it in my intergalactic GPS?
That's what I wondered.
I left it there. Yeah.
Well, and that scene has so much exposition.
Yeah. By the worst speaking character, you know what I mean? Like she's speaking through this accent. So she's not.
That's all she was exposition.
Right.
They actually use her not only as exposition, she'd be the dummy explainer. Yeah. It'd be like Jim just saying, oh, so much exposition. And then I'm Wonder Woman going, what he means is when somebody explains a thing, Ritch Hall is laughing at what I just said. Like, if you watch it again, you'll notice they'll show you something.
Yeah.
And then she'll like say what you just saw.
Just to make sure you know.
The Amazonians must have failed to keep the box. Like, well, we just saw it, you dumbass.
If I want exposition for a superhero movie, I want the guy from Ant-Man every time. Right.
Somebody who makes it fun.
Yeah.
Not Diana, who is the least fun person in the world. Because there's nothing fun about Diana Prince.
I think at that point, I started thinking, like, how much more does this movie have to go? And I looked at it, it's like, oh my God.
Every time there was a chapter break, I'd be like, oh, okay, so we're moving along. Wait, we got a lot more movie to go.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Those breaks actually trick me because if you notice, they're not spaced out evenly.
No.
And so I was like, oh, good, we only got one more. Oh my God, it's so long. Yeah, so And can we go back and talk about how Flash sucks?
But I mean, we got more Flash this time.
Let me say one good thing. One good thing. There, the truck that was going through the Central City, Gardner Fox.
Oh, nice.
Gardner Fox on the side of the truck. And it wasn't like Gardner, the occupation. It was Gard, G-A-R-D 'N-E-R, like a cute little way of saying the occupation.
Yeah.
So, a little nod to Gardner Fox I thought was nice.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I thought you really had something good to say. No, yeah. I mean, that
is a nice little Easter egg.
I hate this movie.
The
Let's be clear.
The way the Flash runs like he's ice skating.
Right.
The visuals, people can see me that.
The $6 million man trick.
Why
is he in slow motion?
I hate his. I want to see a blur.
Actor. Yeah, I want to see a blur.
Actor,
we almost never saw the blur. There were only like 2 scenes where we saw him, what it looked like to other people where he was full speed. There was a scene where he saved the people that had come from up underground, which another change. Whedon was like, you got a man who runs fast. You need to get him out of there fast. Make him run him out. Snyder's like, well, no, he can't run him out. He's just going to taunt them as they go up the stairs.
He's going to talk to them.
Which is like, why is he talking to them?
I had to
get them the hell out of there.
I was like,
there's
why is he not?
Like half a dozen parademons, and they've decided, and Batman's like, I'm going to distract them. But how, Batman? You're getting your ass kicked. These parademons are they just kidnapped 14 people. They should be guarding those 14 people. And instead he's like, nah, I'm going to just hang out with you guys and we'll walk them out slowly. We're going to walk all these old people up steps and just hope we get them out safely.
Then the bricks fall, and so he gets a scene, and then another one fell, and then
I can't move. Yeah.
And once we saw Quicksilver in Days of Future Past, like, here, I'm going to hold your head. Why? So you don't get whiplash.
Right.
That's how super speed's supposed to work.
Right.
It's like there was a clear mission for the Flash, and they're like, no, Whedon did that. I'm not doing that.
Yeah. And I actually liked the save one person conversation. I know. I felt like it was this is what heroes do. Like, look, your job is just to try to get one person out and then another. And I felt like that was a deeper connection because it really did allow Batman to endear himself, as opposed to he goes through all the trouble of hiring this person to be on the team, not necessarily hiring, but recruiting. And then he's like, okay, you're just going to be here. I'm not going to really have another conversation with you if I don't have to. Like, you just stand over there for the rest of the movie because I felt kind of get on my nerves.
I hated how absent the Earth was in this situation too.
The Earth?
I know it's a superhero with it. It's just like, I need these 5 Pacific people to stop this threat to the planet.
That previously the entire planet had to unite to stop. But we just need these 5 people.
Involved in this one though. It's like,
there's no reason.
And like, how you not gonna see a giant dome over that glows from outer space? Like, how is no satellite not gonna pick up that? Hey, Earth has a big evil looking eye now from outer space. We might want to look at that.
But the rich guy says he's got it. Hey, I forgot to take another break, so we've got to take another break and pause for the cause. And
almost halfway through the movie.
Yeah, I know, but we'll be right back for the sake of time. We'll be right back with the Hallspace Podcast. Thank you very much for listening. So let me tell you about Anchor Podcast. It's the podcasting service that I use. Anchor.fm is the easiest way to make a podcast, and there are many different reasons why, but foremost is it's free. So you don't need to go out and buy a whole bunch of equipment. If you have a phone or a computer and a microphone, you can record and edit your podcast right on your phone or computer. So that's one major benefit, as well as the fact that they'll distribute your podcast to several different podcasting sites for you. Not only can your podcast be found on Anchor, it can also be found on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Google Podcast as well. So you don't have to worry about going to all those different sites and setting yourself up. They'll do it for you. You can also make some money on your podcast. Say you have a podcast that only 5 people listen to on a regular basis. They don't limit you on how many subscribers you have to have in order to be able to make a little bit of change for your podcast to keep yourself going. So pretty much everything you need to start a podcast can be found at Anchor.fm. So go download the app either in the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store, or go to Anchor.fm to get started. And I guarantee you, it'll make things so much easier for you, like it has for me. Welcome back to the Hallspace Podcast. I'm here with Jim and Terry Huddleston, talking about this Snyder cut of Justice League. And we were talking about, where were we? Oh, we were talking about the Flash and how goofy he is every time he goes for a run.
Looks like he's falling.
Yeah. That run outside of the, when he runs out of the dog walking place was like, why is he running so comically? Like, I don't even understand what's happening in that moment. And then there's his run at the very end where he's supposed to be happy and this is like a release, but at the same time, I'm like, there were like 3 close-ups of Eliza Miller's face that I was like, why are we looking at him?
Every time.
I hate his face. I like that actor, but in this, I hate everything about him.
Why do we keep getting these close-ups of his like intense shaking? And I'm like, what is happening?
It doesn't even look fast.
It doesn't convey
It looks
speed.
like he's doing underwater sports or some
It's a
shit.
$6 million man.
Right. And so I was, for a second, I was like, well, I mean, maybe you're doing it from his perspective, but once again, you have to compare it to the Quicksilver scenes.
Yeah.
Where, you know, it feels a lot more like a guy is actually moving fast.
Hell, forget that. Compared to the 90s Flash TV show. That was so cool to me.
Yeah.
I remember, like, you know, there's very few things that can be novel in this world when it comes to representation. I love that. Was like right after Superman flying was, and what, T-1000. I don't even know if T-1000 had came out yet. No, that hadn't come out yet.
No, well, that was
so
before.
It was the Flash running, just him doing stuff and wrapping people up real fast. That was so awesome with the streak.
Yeah.
And then, they upped the ante with the Quicksilver Fox X-Men movies.
Mm-hmm.
They stole in this one, too, with the useless hot dog thing.
Well, he had to have the hot dog to feed the dogs with.
To save the cat moment,
Can anybody explain to me why his shoes exploded?
His shoes weren't built for his super speed. That's once again,
exploded.
His clothes were, thank goodness, though.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, he could be naked.
Are typically tougher
We'd
than
hate to
clothes.
see a slow motion Zack Snyder flinkle.
His feet were in the air. There was no reason for them to explode.
But they weren't built for. He had to have a special suit. Yeah, because it was cool. That's how you know how powerful he is, because his shoes explode. And even though he somehow, as a poor person, was able to put together this suit that's specially designed from spaceship material, he never put himself together any shoes. He's just walking around in regular shoes. Yeah. Poor person with 3 different jobs who's running a techno-wizard basement.
Because Tom Holland Spider-Man, they had to have the young, quirky kid that could do a thing. Like, why not Jaime Blue Beetle instead of Cyborg? I'm sorry, Cyborg is lame as fuck.
Oh, no, Cyborg.
I just got done talking about black representation. This is one where, like, give me a Hispanic character instead. We can swap it out.
No.
Same power set. You can actually merge Flash and Jaime Blue Beetle together because he's the young, don't know the ropes kid that, is grappling with a power he doesn't understand. But yet they give us a boring Cyborg character.
I felt like Cyborg improved into this movie. But that's only because Whedon chopped him out so much that he was barely a character.
And there's a story behind that, I know.
Yeah. And then, the story is
what do you got, Jim?
But the thing that they left out, probably because it was a Whedon thing, at the end of the big battle, when Cyborg says "Booyah!"
Yeah.
Every kid in the universe who grew up on Teen Titans.
They didn't make this movie for kids, Jim.
Yes, actually, I'm going to disagree with you. Yes, he did. He made this movie work for what he thinks kids like.
I can literally see fucking Zack Snyder.
No, but you have to understand. Teen Titans was on 20 years ago, dude. 20 years ago.
Was that 20 years ago?
Yeah.
Jeez, that's how old I am.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
My daughter was watching it in 2010 when it was 10 years old already.
Maybe it was jokey Marvel movies, dude.
But it's like
serious.
Booyah brought the house down when I saw it in the theater.
Yeah. Now, some people are happy that there's no Booyah. I did see that in the thing.
Yeah.
Like, well, he's taking out the Booyah, so now we know it's serious.
Now we know
he would never say Booyah.
But that's why it's Cyborg, not Blue Beetle, because kids know.
Got to get the Booyah. Yeah.
Kids know Cyborg.
They know Jaime too.
I felt like Cyborg.
Not as much.
I felt like Cyborg was a good addition to the Justice League when he was added in the comics, because if you think of them as a pantheon, the Techno God is a guy you need in the pantheon of heroes as you advance them. Now, I've always had my issues because he is a character from Teen Titans, so it's like he's mostly associated with them. It's like Dick Grayson ever becoming a member of the Justice League. He's always supposed to be off doing his own thing.
I mean, like, it's funny. I was like, it seems like there's Young Justice would have been the thing that they could have done.
Right. But
that's anime adjacent.
I felt like Cyborg was added back to this movie, and his character improved. He still wasn't necessarily great. He was still kind of flat in some ways as a human. Yeah. But he did have so I found myself being compelled.
He was weirdly too clean cut for me. I'm sorry. It's something about that guy's face. He looked more like an android, even when he's fully human. then the cyborg aesthetic is just god awful. Like,
I did not like the cyborg aesthetic.
Yeah.
They should have done more practical than CG. Yes.
Joe Morton playing Silas, his dad.
Joe Morton was good.
He's always a genius. He did
the best with what he had in a way. Yeah.
I think he had reprisal of his Terminator thing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Somebody said Joe Morton is born to die for our sins. Like,
exactly. Yeah, that's exactly right.
It's like, man, every time Joe Morton, every time. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that he.
I didn't. Yeah, people were loving the new Cyborg. I think he's just as flat. I mean, he is better, but once again, it doesn't pass the threshold of like, oh no, he's like Killmonger now. Like Killmonger's still
no.
You see what I'm saying? Like, no, Killmonger's still a more dynamic.
I mean, because what do we know about him as a human? He played football. He got in a car accident. He's mad at his dad.
That's literally all they wanted you to know. That's all they wanted you to know, that he's also an angry accident survivor.
Right.
All these
and they even joked about that. We're the accidents.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You gotta remember also that Cyborg goes all the way back to Super Friends, right?
Right.
Yeah.
The last season of Super Friends, the challenge of the Super Friends, he had his own superpowers figure, so he's been
around for a long time.
He's been elevated at times.
Yeah, I'm not knocking Cyborg in particular, because to me it's all about archetypes and how you want to play with them. And he is one of the more unique archetypes to, once again, powerful people that they're literally their powers that they're strong, they can fly. So then you got a guy, but at the same time, you go, hey, he's a digital god, and Zack Snyder turned all their power levels up to 11, but then they come off as dumb. Like, dude, why are you actively in person doing stuff? Like, even Scarlet Witch knows how to use like cars to like throw them at people. Like, you can be doing. Yeah, did you ever? I think it was Fast and the Furious 7. It was the one with Charlize Theron as the bad guy. But she was pretty much a hacker. They made her into pretty much cyborg, but real world, where she could use any technology against you. And there's a scene where she's got a bunch of cars driving off a parking garage, like falling on people. Yeah. And she would do this, do that.
That is the thing about Cyborg. They did not use him to his potential.
He doesn't do anything.
He doesn't really use, he's supposed to be this technological wizard, but he never really manipulates technology.
Wonder Woman can shoot a lightning blast. Superman can shoot a laser. Aquaman's got his spear trident.
No, his 5 dent.
His 5 dent.
Yes, it is a 5
dent. Literally in the captions, it says 5 dent.
The 5 dent. Batman could shoot his guns and take.
Batman loves his grappling hook. Batman loves his grappling hook.
Time out.
We're gonna back up.
What Terry just said.
Yeah.
Batman shoots his guns.
Batman loves guns. What are you talking about?
Oh. Yeah.
Doesn't Batman love guns? He literally puts a M16 on every vehicle he drives. He turns it into a tank and gives it a Hauser. Yeah. So machine guns. Batman loves machine guns. Does Batman not love machine guns? Are we saying historically Batman's had an issue with guns?
Since the Dark Knight, yeah.
Is it that?
Thank you, Frank Miller.
Is it that Batman doesn't like guns? Is it that the tragedy of losing his parents to guns might have given him?
That's part of Rich's returnable superpower, is to pretend to be dumb as fuck. Right when you need him to be smart, like, oh, you know better. He's gotten me a time or two, like, I'm like,
I know he was mad.
Is this one serious? But yeah, no, I mean,
are we saying? Batman, is that what we're saying?
He's a gun guy.
Batman shouldn't put machine guns on every vehicle he ever puts together.
So everybody is either shooting something
to shoot,
and once again, killing. And that's kind of funny things with the Marvel movies. It's like Captain America kills people left and right. I don't seem to really mind that too much.
Because they didn't set it up. They didn't establish that he doesn't kill people.
Right.
He was born out of war.
But the thing is, as a superhero, though, even Captain America had a reticence to kill. He didn't even want to kill Baron Blood with his shield. And he had a real hard time with it. But, that's still reluctant. So he doesn't want to kill. But I still didn't have a problem with it in the movies because it's like, yeah, you're right. He's just like fished him out of the ice. Yeah, here we go. Boom, throw this guy out the window. Throw this guy over the side of the boat. But Batman and Superman, for 70 plus years, they just, plain as a rule, didn't kill people. And next thing you know, I read everything. It's like, oh, Batman doesn't have a code of killing. What the hell? He doesn't.
What?
He just doesn't call it that.
I mean, Batman is a dude who breaks arms and whatnot. I mean, Batman will give you a concussion.
He will maim you.
He'll give you the slow death of your own blood dripping into your brain.
But starting with the Burton films, he's killing people left and right.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Burton was the first person to put machine guns on the Batmobile.
But even then, it still was ambiguous, though. Like, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't?
I'm just saying, you didn't see people, like, get riddled, like RoboCop 1 style.
No, he just dropped a little bomb next to the Batmobile and let the whole factory explode.
You got to remember, the 80s had a lot of unjudicial killing in our heroes.
Yeah. But I mean, all of these guys didn't have any problem killing anybody.
No. When I realized Wonder Woman was making blood splatters in front of children, I was like, oh, is that the movie we're watching? Wonder Woman?
And the thing is,
I've seen 2 movies of Wonder Woman where she was not breaking necks.
You can tell Snyder thought he nailed it. Like, this is so cool. This isn't your daddy's Wonder Woman.
And when they did Batman versus Superman, the director's cut or whatever, that fight where Batman's taking out the people holding Martha Kent, it's like the original version is like he's throwing people around and stuff and smashing their faces on the floor. In the new version, oh no, they leave blood smears as they slide off the wall. I mean, it's clear that he's murdering them.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I'm just like,
Batman doesn't murder people. Is that what we're saying?
Here we go.
And really, the murder thing is what separates Batman from the argument of him being
just as bad as the Joker,
a bad cop, even right. What are we talking about? We don't talk about cops that are a little too hard on criminals, beating them. So we talk about cops killing people. Like that's the nugget. So if the heroes aren't doing that, it's hard to be like, oh yeah, you know what? He broke that purse robber's arm, but I understand it. But it's like, oh man, that purse robber was running away and Batman shot him in the back. What the hell?
Well, Batman dropped 200 pounds of human weight on his back is what he did, and then grabbed him by the arm and snapped it.
And here's the thing with the internal logic of superhero movies. If Batman's just killing thugs left and right, why isn't he killing the Joker? That's the one thing. It's like, oh, you have your one rule, blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, yeah, but I just killed all these people, so why are you different?
Right.
Yeah. And then they bring it up in that, but we don't want to get into that yet, do we? That stupid post.
Yeah, no. We'll get to the nightmare sequence as we get to the end.
Oh, yeah.
We do have to talk about the resurrection of Superman, which again, a Whedon. I thought this was a Whedon decision. It had always been a Snyder decision because Snyder loves him some angry Superman. He loves the Superman's eyes glow red because he might murder you thing, because he cannot live with the idea that Superman could be a force for good. He's a guy who's at any point could go bad, and he should be murdering us all. Why wouldn't he with all those powers? And so they bring Superman back. And another dumb decision that I thought was a Whedon decision, they go after Superman. And even though this entire movie, we've talked about how important keeping this box is from Steppenwolf, we leave the box behind. Cyborg, this entire movie, has been carrying this box with him wherever he goes. He hides it in his mother's grave. He only goes back to get it because we know we need it for this specific plan. We say before the plan that when we activate it, he's going to be looking for it. But oh no, Superman left. We should just leave the box here. We'll come back for it.
Yeah.
Oh wait, Steppenwolf's back. Does anybody know where the box is? Oh shoot.
Oh, and the way they said that shit, like, does anyone know what the box is?
It's like, once again, Wonder Exposition Woman.
I'll be the first to say, man, I have a bias. I do not like Gal Gadot Wonder Woman. And
she's pretty.
She's not pretty in the right way to be Wonder Woman to me. She looks too much like a model and not like somebody that could do MMA.
Yeah.
To me. Like, actually, there is one of the Amazonians that lifts the wall up. That's real buff blonde. She's on the show Ultimate Tag. And I was like, and I instantly got a crush on her, and I realized I was like, that's the same chick. Like, she looks more like a superhero than Wonder Woman. I mean, she's got the 6-pack abs, the big, thick arms. I'm like, I need a little bit more from Gal Gadot. Looks too. She needs to be pushed up a little bit more for me.
Yeah.
Like, actually, Zeta still's got it. That actress still has the look. And then when Linda Carter shows up in the '84 Easter egg, I kind of went over for that. Like, oh my God, it's Linda Carter. And so I think I'm a little bit racist.
Yeah,
I think I need blue eyes, man. I think I need blue eyes. Like the black hair, blue eyes things is kind of critical to me if you're doing Diana Troy Wonder Woman.
So resurrecting Superman comes back. Superman's angry. I did like the Superman turns his eye to look at Flash thing, if only because, I mean, when I saw it the first time, I was like, well, that's kind of cool. Except for the Flash trips and falls part, which is like, dude, you've been running at super speed for how long now that you don't remember foot placement at the very least? And then I did like the Flash that dodges Superman scene. I thought
kind
that was
like what Superman was like slap fighting him though. It was kind of weird.
Yeah. And not just that, but like a knife hand strike or something. It's like, wow, you didn't know Superman knew karate. It's like came at him like this. Like, whoop,
yeah. I did like that Cyborg got his opportunity to save a cop. I liked that part. I'm
telling you, I swear to God, I bet you Zack Snyder is totally unaware of whatever implications can come out of that. And what's funny, that cop was just there. Like, he's the lone, old, grizzled white cop. That's just like, dude, get the fuck out of here. Like, no.
You should probably move.
The military's there at this point. This motherfucker's still standing around by him on whatever blue screen lot he was on. That's what it looked like. Scene.
And then Superman, and here's the thing about it. We just spent all this time and resources on getting Superman back. We sacrificed the box to do it, and he flew off. I mean, I hope that whole Superman thing resolves itself. I hope he shows up to help us when we need him, because he flew off. I guess we'll have to hope he's not still a bad guy in 10 minutes.
Because they literally did the thing without knowing if that was going to be like, well, I think in the Whedon cut, like, Superman kind of coerces Lois Lane to come back.
Well, no. Yeah, Batman goes and gets Lois Lane, knowing it's like Lois is the key.
That's what I'm saying. Like the
idea that Lois is going to talk him into coming back to save us.
We got to back up some more.
Sure.
Martha Kent, who's not Martha.
Oh God.
Oh yeah.
Like, Martha Kent, who's Martian Manhunter. That just rips the heart right out of that scene.
What? Why would that happen though? I don't
have no answer for that.
I don't understand why.
First of all, if there was a black man with the power to turn into a white woman at will, he'd be the most powerful black man on the planet.
And General Swanwick, really?
Well, Zach had been saying that
he's been setting that up for a while.
Yeah, he had said he's been setting that up for a while. It didn't make sense because dumb. John Jones he's a cop, but he takes on many different identities, but the idea that he would be standing around helping the U.S. military just doesn't feel like who that guy is.
And the idea that he's like a dick to Superman the whole time. It's like, what is it, a rivalry thing? Well, I don't get it.
Yeah. Especially when another alien shows up.
I'm not alone. Look.
I'm about to say, it could have actually been a great story device to have somebody like Martian Manhunter basically be the Vision character, which is what he is in the books, where he kind of explains to Superman, like him and Lois maybe in tandem, like, here's why Earth is great. Yeah. And why blah, blah, blah. But to me, oh God, I really don't like. Have you guys thought about how you would fix this particular story? Because I don't think it's fixable, personally.
I don't know. It's so uniquely Zach's vision of what this story should be that it makes sense to him. And honestly, from watching it, I saw how it made sense. Like throughout watching it, I was like, okay, to Zach, this makes sense. It doesn't make sense to me. And I can see how other people are going to watch it and be like, yeah, I'm enjoying myself through this. But I don't know how I'd make it work. Once again, I felt for Whedon. Whedon's personal troubles aside, and the fall from grace. I was like, I can understand why he sat down and watched all the dailies of this movie, and he was like, what am I supposed to do? They just backed a Brinkload's truck up to my house and say, fix it. I said I could fix it. Like, okay, so I'll throw in a few jokes. I'll try and thematically tie this thing to that thing. But I can get Superman, but he's going to have a beard. I mean, I guess. Nope, he can't have a beard.
And when you watch the Whedon cut, and you see how much of that was actually Zack Snyder.
Yeah,
you're just going like, oh shit, he really had nothing to work with.
right.
Dude, I totally would have had a Superman rocking a Jesus beard and Jesus hair, like longer.
He should have come back with Jesus hair.
And like, he
would
would
have thrown on the black costume. Just go ahead, do it. Just go full bore.
I had a weirder thing where it's like they clearly waxed his back, but didn't wax his chest. And I noticed it both times on why, because his back is like super shiny, like he just got waxed, but his chest is hairy, like, you know.
That's not how it works. I'm gonna tell you right now. That's
not how it works.
And I'm like, well, I would have rather just be all hairy and be a fucking brawny dude, but like the weird lack of hair anywhere, like not even a beard.
Right.
But like he got this tough, like that's odd, dog. Like
yeah. And Superman's never had chest hair, so I was a little thrown off. It was weird.
I remember in the movie when the Man of Steel, when he basically gets the suit and talks to his dad for the first time, who has a beard and longish hair. Mm-hmm. He shaves for no reason other than fan service. We think Superman shouldn't have a beard, but they really didn't. Like, it would have been more thematically sound if his father didn't have a beard and he was emulating his dad. Right. And like, dude, why shave, bro? Like, why? Right. Like, you've been rocking a full beard this whole movie.
Right. And no. If Superman's going to fly for the first time, he needs to have a beard. Or no beard. No beard for flying.
I mean, look, you Zack Snyder, you're doing Not Your Daddy Superman. That's how you do it. Mm-hmm. You know, you fucking, he's got a mom tattoo and a beard now.
Yep. But I have a question. I have a question. Why did Batman's plane need an arc? Like, why did they think we needed an arc for Batman's plane? I was going to bring it up. I think that's a busted plot line from the other movies that never came out. What? Because I think the transport is probably going to be something that comes into play in the Nightmare. No, because they immediately destroyed it. He went through all this trouble to get it working, and then goes to the dome and it crashes.
Then never mind that. That's what I thought.
I was like, why do we need an arc for because they keep bringing up, the plane doesn't work. To make Cyborg useful to the team. To give Cyborg something to do, I guess. And he's like, no, it has a software issue.
Like, you got out of the six people, 5 of them have extreme mobility. Like, oceans cover the planet.
Right.
Wonder Woman can fly. Cyborg can fly. Superman can fly. Why the fuck do you need this thing?
And there's that weird moment where Cyborg shows up and Flash says, hey, is he riding with us? Because you don't have room in your car. Dude, you're the dude who runs fast. Why are you riding in the car?
It was so dumb.
That doesn't make sense to me.
It was so dumb.
Well, in the Whedon cut, that's like at the end, it's like, well, the plane can't get there fast enough, and Cyborg goes, it will for me. So it's like, but it wasn't like the big critical. Like, I can't make this thing even 3 fly.
Times. Right. Yeah. So and then they immediately crash it. So it's like, why did you bring it up that many times? It's such a special device.
But in the Snyder version, in the Snyder version, it's like, I can't even make this thing fly. I suck. Right. Here, I'll fix it. Look at me.
Right.
So it was just both times.
And then he's like, well, I need it because I need to be able to carry equipment and people. You brought 6 people.
Why would they set up that Cyborg is made out of a mother box?
With machine guns.
Why would they set up that Cyborg made out of a mother box as a plot device? Like, it's going to give him some special power, unexpected power when he interfaces with it. Nope. And it goes nowhere.
Nope.
It does nothing. Like, I could see if it's like a table turn, kind of like, once again, Star-Lord holding the Infinity Stone, like, this didn't kill him instantly. Oh, snap. Like, maybe he could do a thing. Why is Darkseid watching the whole event through his big screen TV?
Right. Does nothing.
But then we just saw him get waxed by like 2 dudes.
Right.
And so Superman and whoever was right there could have probably waxed him because they were closer to him than his army was close to Earth. Like, they would have never got to that portal in time before it closed.
Right.
But they wasted to do a cool Zack Snyder throw old boy through and cut his head off.
What in the hell?
Then they stand there and watch him.
She cuts heads off. Jim, you don't think he's cut a head off?
He's beaten. He's helpless. We're going to throw him back in. Oh, by the way, while you're tossing him in there, here, let me cut his head off too.
You don't think Wonder Woman cut a head off?
That's such a Thor move. That's a Thor move from Infinity War.
And then they also nerfed his actually Thor Ragnarok too with when he cut the similar looking guys out. They also nerfed the bad guy and the hero at the same time. They had Stephen Wolf pretty much whoop all the Justice League through the whole movie.
Right.
So somehow
until Superman showed up. They
can't beat him, and they need Superman's special brand of super strength that they all also have, especially Aqua fucking Man.
Yeah.
Let alone Wonder Woman. Like together, they should have fucking ripped him in half. That's one. Two.
She had to wait till the perfect moment to cut his head off.
You find out it was just the armor that was really keeping him nigh invulnerable. Because once that came out, they can cut him all of a sudden and fuck him up and do shit and cut his horns off. And so he had a big fat "don't hit me right here" spot. You know where his face was, those Bambi eyes they gave him, where that was. Like, so it just ends up being retroactively stupid as hell.
Since we're in the end scene right now with Darkseid and everything, I'm like, okay, we're looking through the boom tube. Here's Darkseid, and Darkseid like looking at him like, why didn't Darkseid just unleash his Omega beams and blast Batman into pieces? Just
right.
I will answer that.
He should have. Dan Turpin did. Dan Turpin.
I don't think he has it yet in this verse. I think the anti-life equation.
But they showed it. No, they showed it.
Well, no. Actually, that was after. So that was in the vision of the future that he had him when he killed Aquaman, he stabs Aquaman, kills one of his guys. He does not. He may not have it in this version of the universe yet.
I don't know. Yeah, I think the anti-life equation is what gives him that. But either way, why didn't he just step through with a couple of goons? And
let me just trash all of you. You killed this guy, and I'm Darkseid.
Right.
Yes.
And I don't even like that guy. It's already been established. I don't like that guy.
And it's like, oh, good, you're all here.
right.
Yeah,
the six of you.
Dumb.
Right.
Why not boom tube them to some fucking place they don't even know?
You can boom tube them to Apocalypse and then just wax them there.
No,
if you're gonna do
you don't even gotta do that. You got a billion worlds probably with this equation. Boom, like send them anywhere.
A sun.
Where they are.
Right.
They don't even know.
To the sun.
Yeah.
If you're going to establish you have that ability, right? I understand. The story does not dictate.
I feel like it was false advertising too. Not that it mattered anyway with me, but I feel like they advertised that Thanos was in this movie. Oh, excuse me. Darkseid was in this movie.
Close enough. You got it.
And I know Thanos is a ripoff of Darkseid. It's just they did it better once again. But imagine watching the first Infinity War and Thanos isn't actually actively a part of the plot. Like he's literally still a plot device and not actively fighting all the heroes. Because that scene was amazing where they were on the Titan planet and they're all fighting them. And you once again, it goes back to what I said before. My big complaint with Justice League is that you don't know, they didn't establish power levels well. So you don't know anybody's upper power limits. Like we don't know exactly how strong Wonder Woman is.
Why would you need to know?
We're told that Wonder Woman is strong. It's kind of implied that Aquaman is strong, but we don't know how strong.
Yeah.
We just know they're not stronger than Steppenwolf, but he doesn't seem that strong. Like he didn't come off like Incredible Hulk strong.
No.
To me.
Yeah.
So
no.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think. I may be reading too much into this, but I think Zack Snyder had a little FU message to Joss Whedon in here because they had that side-by-side scene when the whole league is going into action, and it's like virtually a freeze frame moment.
Yep, there's a freeze frame moment. Yep.
I'm going, oh, Age of Ultron. Nicely done.
Yeah.
Because that's what Whedon did.
I noticed that, but it was stupid in this movie. It was
that's what I'm saying. I think it was a big FU to Joss Whedon. It's like, yeah, see what that looks like? It looks stupid.
I will say, so this is the me that's like, oh, how do you pull a thing like that together? The Flash goes back in time to reset the bomb. From just thinking through it, I was like, oh, that's pretty. What happens if he loses but gets a second shot at it? All right, I get it. I understand how it's also dumb, but it was beautifully crafted. And he said goodbye to his dad. So that was nice.
Wait, where'd you see that at?
The final one where like the bomb, the things unify and everybody blows up, and then Flash runs back through time.
Yeah.
To save everyone.
They show him coming back together again.
I did see that.
Which is like Superman. We just spent all this time saving Superman, and he got turned into dust.
Yeah.
Cyborg also got turned into dust.
Apparently wasn't that super.
Right. And then he gets back and jolts Cyborg to reset the Unity and separate it. Yeah, I thought that was pretty at the very least. Sure. I was like, and by that point, like I said, I was in the movie and I was like, I could see how people will enjoy this. Like, there's a lot of mood in here. There's a lot of like, there's a certain tempo to this movie that by the time you've sat through it for 4 hours, I'm like, I get what he's doing. And by
the time you establish a character can run back in time and you retroactively really made this useless endeavor even more useless, then I guess.
Yeah.
You know, like look, we what's funny is the weirdness of the paradox of what I just said before of course DC had all these properties and story beats first and with the fourth world stuff. But we just got done watching heroes go through a time loop to defeat
it's hard not to separate. Now, this would have come out before that. Remember, it's 2017. That has not happened yet.
But it did not. Look.
But this
shoulda, woulda, coulda don't mean shit.
Right.
Look, I know. Right. But Marvel, not only did they use the same story, they put it all better. It was fun. Yes. It was dynamic. It didn't seem like it came out of nowhere. They were showing you the whatever the loop is called from the very beginning. Tony Stark, everybody was kind of involved in it. It wasn't just, all right, Rich, you've been pretty useless so far, but do a thing right now because it's plot o'clock and we need you to do the thing that's going to save us all. It almost would be like if Tony Stark at the end of Infinity War Endgame does a thing like by himself, like I got a thing that I'm going to do. But no, they made that sure everybody was involved in that victory, getting the stones back and all that. And then it all culminated to a point that felt like
Tony Stark had to make a choice.
And it was amazing.
And they tried to do the Cyborg thing to make him make a choice, but it wasn't tied to reality. It was tied to this. Well, there's a way you can have your family back. Also, we've established that if you let this happen, you'll blow up.
Oh my God!
And it was a throwback back to the first Avengers film where Captain America says, "You're not the kind of guy to lay down
the wire.
You're no hero. You only solve your own problems." You're damn right about that. Because that was one of you can talk shit about Marvel all you want to. But they made their worst movies more cohesive retroactively. They kind of fixed them. Even Age of Ultron is not my favorite, but it's got some interesting plot points in it now.
It's more interesting now that
WandaVision. Yes.
WandaVision makes that a better movie.
But that's how you do it. That's how you do it. Even their turds kind of become solid gold bars after a while. Like, I didn't really care for the Iron Man 2 and 3. I like 2 more than I like 3. But retroactively, once you see that there's this legacy with Tony Stark and Howard Stark tampering with technology they don't understand and stealing technology that they don't understand. So they bring on to themselves an ever-escalating success and problem matrix. And so it like the Marvel Universe retroactively becomes like the focal point is actually the Starks. It's really weird, but true. Like they pretty much, the Tesseract energy is what they use, I do believe, to make the super soldier serum. Like it's tied in there somewhere. And so that first initial motion kind of starts a domino of Thanos coming like, oh, okay, your planet's on a cosmic level now. I'm about to come, mess all y'all up.
Which is interesting because this movie tries to tell the opposite story. I noticed that from the beginning. So whereas in the Marvel universe, it's they keep getting heroes, so now you're ready for war. In this movie, your prime hero dies, Superman, and now we're ready to come conquer you. Like it's a little weird how they try to do the diametric opposite. Dude, well, at the same time,
since Superman only existed in this world for like 2 seconds.
All of 3 months.
You beat me to it, Jim. I was about to say, so, like a week ago, Superman came out of the closet and was fighting another guy. And what accounted to like 100 9/11s.
Right.
And then the week after that, he's fighting another super guy that's causing kind of a smaller version of a 9/11 in an abandoned part of town.
Right.
And then the third week, he's fighting another super guy that's trying to cause the world to explode again.
In Russia. But this time he's wearing black.
Why do people love this guy?
Right.
This time he's wearing black.
And I know they showed a montage in
Black is
Batman v
cool.
Superman of him saving people, and maybe we're supposed to go on that.
Jesus, he's like Jesus. He saves people.
We haven't spent a lot of time underneath Superman's wing to fall in love with him. WandaVision, I know WandaVision was what, 8 hours, 9 hours if you add it up.
Yeah.
But I'd be goddamned if they didn't have the one scene where fucking Vision goes, "What is grief but love enduring?" You straight motherfuckers fell in love with Vision right then and there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Deny it. Like you were like, God damn. Like, of course I love this guy. There's not a single moment in the Zack Snyderverse where I had that moment.
Right. You didn't. He put together the Sony thing and listened to his dad's
with
final
Captain
words.
America, it was.
What about that?
When Red Skull asked him in Captain America: First Avenger, "What makes you so special?" He says, "Nothing. I'm just a boy from Brooklyn." Fell in love with him instantly right then and there. Like,
what?
This guy's heroic.
And that's the thing. It's like the Marvel characters I care about. I love every single one of them except for Star-Lord. He's a dick.
I love Star-Lord too.
No, Star-Lord's responsible for the blip. I'm sorry, but it's like,
you're that guy.
I get the in-universe hate, yeah. But
but the Justice League, I couldn't care less about any of them. They're all dark.
But Aquaman saves people.
But I will also push you to say you don't hate anybody the way you hate Star-Lord out of the Justice. Even though all the characters are terrible, like Star Wars, you have an in-universe palpable hate because he made a bad decision and you're like, damn it.
Yeah.
You know,
at a bad time.
It was a small decision, but yeah.
No, he's Luke Skywalker. Like, I gotta go save my friends. And he's like,
don't you start. Don't start. Don't start.
I'm not talking about the new movies. I know
that's a whole 2-hour conversation.
Right. We'll save the Star Wars conversation for another time.
That's
okay.
Really,
so I gotta take one more break and then we'll do the epilogue and we can wrap up. How about that?
Sounds good.
All right. Every year, 10 million content creators create without engagement. Another 5 million creators don't even have a Patreon. I've been asked if, after witnessing this god-awful misery for the last 17 years, could I have ever gotten used to seeing creators this destitute? How could anyone with eyes and ears and a heart get used to these conditions? The loneliness of a live hair tutorial video with only 2 watchers, or hilarious political tweets with only 6 likes, or craft beer reviews with no subscribers, or a thirst trap photo with only 1 creepy dude comment. It's enough to make the angels cry. I can't get used to this any more than you can, but we can do something about it. I've given 17 years of my life to social media, and I would give 100 more, scrolling daily. All it takes is 1 like, 1 simple double tap, and the time it takes to subscribe. Your likes could encourage an otherwise doomed fitness instructor. You could put more life into a socially awkward 90s sitcom reviewer, or nourish self-esteem to a life coach, or sustain a comedian who isn't Tony Baker trying to make animal voiceover videos. If you like, share, and subscribe right now, you can get something else. A thank you letter from a creator. A letter that says something like, "Dear friend, I was very sick and could not get out of my bed, but now I am back to creating again, and there will be many more videos for you. Also, I bought a Maserati. Signed, Kev on Stage." Can you think of a better reason to like, share, and subscribe right now than to help a SoundCloud producer sell trap beats during a pandemic? Like, share, and subscribe today, and you too can save a content creator from a desolate fate. So, we're wrapping up the Justice League conversation. I think we've been at this for 2 hours at least.
And 2 more hours.
We're still got 2 more hours to do the whole movie. Right. We should do a live watch.
This incoherent conversation is flowing better than that movie.
And that is the key to the Whedon. I watched the Whedon thing again. It's like, I'm like, okay, it still works better. I don't care.
I agree.
I don't care. I don't care about 5 hours of Cyborg. I don't care about all the rest of it.
More Flash. More Flash.
It flows. The Martha Kent
more like a movie.
Intact. The Martha Kent scene is intact with heart instead of what the hell is that all about? It still works better. It's not great. It's not good, but it still works better, I think.
Yeah, it does. You're right. You are right.
And so the epilogue, Bruce Wayne doesn't want people to know he's Batman, but he's going to build the Justice League in his house.
Told everybody.
I mean, he tells people left and right, but he's going to build the Justice League table in his actual home on his property with his name on it. They'll just meet there, and so people won't notice.
To be fair, the Tim Burton movies had Batman telling everybody that had a vagina that he was.
Well, I mean, come on, you tell the woman you love. That's how it works. You gotta let her know who you are.
They would like stumble into it, like, "Oh, what's this?"
Yeah. Or Alfred would just let him in.
Alfred would like, yeah, that's right. I forgot.
Alfred let her in. It turns around. They even make a joke about it in the second one. It was like, we're talking about secret identities.
Who let Vicky Vale to that cave?
Yeah. Who let Vicky Vale to that cave? Turn around like, hey, what are you doing here? The nightmare sequence. They go out of their way. Zack Snyder's got all this money. He's got to film another piece of this movie. Woo. And when I tell you that I thought that Batman and Joker scene was over long, like, why are they still talking to each other? Oh, my God. And this is just pure self-indulgence. Under any other circumstance, he could not have gotten away with that scene. But now that he's doing this triumphant return to this film, they're like, go ahead and do what you want. And he's like, all right, then I'm going to spend some money to get Jared Leto and Ben Affleck back down here, and I'm going to let them have a conversation because I might never get my chance again, which the creator in me understands. You get that shot, you take it. But the viewer in me is like, why are they still talking? And did Batman just say, fuck you?
Yes, he did.
Did Batman
remember
drop an F-bomb?
I will fucking kill you.
Yeah. And why did you think Batman needed to say an F-bomb?
Because Robin did on Titans.
But I don't understand. And why are we so obsessed with, like, the Apocalypse Earth and Superman being bad? Why are we so obsessed with that eventually coming to fruition? Because I have no interest. There's a lot of people who do. They love the idea that if there's this great force for power, he can become a bad person. But I have zero interest in evil Superman.
It makes Earth seem like it consists of like 6 people that matter.
But doesn't it though?
Like if this guy falls, then the whole thing goes foot. And it's just, it's like,
But he's the most powerful creature.
They didn't earn it. It's like saying if Captain America goes bad, then like the whole world. No, it's just you got a really powerful bad guy. Right?
I did appreciate that somebody said the nightmare sequence was essentially Super Mario Brothers level foreshadowing to movies that may never be made. like you are saying you're going to try to make a sequel, and you've got no green lights for sequels, but you're just going to do this, hoping that
it was so dumb looking to me.
I
couldn't get over how like dumb Batman looks in the cold light of day. Like, dude, everybody knows who you are. Why are you wearing that?
You're probably the cowl. Sweating. You're wearing the cowl with the ears. What's up with the coat?
Like you look
and goggles.
Like a kid that won't leave without his favorite blanket. You're like Linus right now.
Oh, but he's got a gun.
This is what I was saying about
a gun.
Marvel doing uniforms. Like if he has a bat like SWAT uniform, like look at Captain America's suit, how it functions. He doesn't look like a guy that's in a costume. He looks like a guy wearing a tactical uniform. Even when he puts
it just happens to be colorful. Yeah.
Like if you put some bat ears on that, you're like, okay, I can see that. But Batman's shit looks like a bulky rubber Party City mask.
He can't move in it. There was the scene where he jumps out at the Nightcrawler and walks up to that pile of trash, and he's like, "Oh, they've just been here." And you can tell the way he's bending down. He cannot move in that thing.
It reminds me of when they did those live action. I think Rodriguez directed Sin City movies.
Yes,
and like had it been like high contrast, black and white to make the reality look like art. That's one thing. I get that.
Yeah,
go for the Frank Miller look. But it looks dumb as fuck in the cold light of day. And it's not streamlined. It doesn't look functional. And the designer in me, I design costumes all the time. Like, God damn, Batman has one of the easiest silhouettes to pull off.
I still want to see a scene where we see Batman applying his
the mascara,
right? Eyeshadow.
Even in the apocalypse. Even in the apocalypse, Batman wears mascara.
Yeah. So there's this fan film that just came out by Bat and Son Productions. I'm pretty sure you guys are.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
And that Batman has more of a presence than the Batman we got.
I like Batfleck. I like Batfleck.
I don't. I don't.
I do. I have a soft spot for Ben Affleck. I always have.
I like
I don't
Ben
know why.
Affleck, but he looks bloated in this movie. Like his Batman looks like a big, like kind of fat guy.
That's how he wants him to look like Frank Miller Batman. I get it. Snyder. That's Snyder going with that aesthetic.
It just looks like
he looks like a tank.
Like, dude, do you think for a second that Winter Soldier versus Batman, not to be this nerd, like Winter Soldier, which is wearing all black, dark motif, mystery guy, fucking destroy this Batman.
Oh,
the way he moves like you expect Batman to move.
Yeah,
like any hand-to-hand combat guy, Winter Soldier. I mean, did you see the Russo brothers? What was it, Insurgency or some movie? Extraction. That's what it was.
Extraction. Called. Yes.
Right. Like, dude, you put a superhero in over that movie. That's literally Captain America and Bucky all over again. They even have the same dynamic.
Right.
Blue-eyed good guy and the dark-haired, slightly ethnically ambitious or ambiguous
kid.
But hey, it actually worked. I was like, this is actually a pretty good story.
It was fun. Right. I enjoyed it for a Netflix movie. Absolutely.
Raid the Redemption. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but
no, that was them trying their best to do a Raid Redemption.
It was, and they did a good job.
They did.
Obviously, got chops.
I've heard their newest one, Cherry, isn't that good, but I don't know. I haven't seen it.
What can that be seen at?
That's on Apple. Apple.
Oh no, Apple
Plus. What is it called? Apple Movies,
TV?
Whatever.
Apple TV.
Yeah. So Justice League. It sounds like all thumbs down all around. I mean, so I did think it should exist. I was like, okay, in comparison to the Whedonverse, I felt like he should be able to see his vision through because he definitely has a vision. Whether I agree with it or not.
The daughter dying thing is terrible, obviously, but I think they had problems with him regardless of that happening. Like, you can see what this is. Like, they saw this movie and shit themselves and was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And then I felt like the spurious way of people going, oh, it's a Snyder Cut. See, it does exist. Like, bitch, it don't exist. Like, they made this shit after the fact. That's like saying, I did my homework. Just give me 2 weeks, and I'll
give me 4 additional years to make it.
I've had it all along, idiot. See, I told you. Like, how come I got today's date on it? You know. It's just, and then to me, the Snyder acolytes, the Snyder people, the fanatics, they're gonna love it, right? They love it. I actually haven't heard much bad about the movie.
No, a lot of people do like it,
which is making me feel like I've been gaslit or something. But I felt the same way about, not to get into politics, I felt the same way about Trumpers. Yeah, where I'm like, how could they not see how terrible, like objectively terrible?
So some of this is. Like I said, I feel like the movie has its own internal logic. And within the logic of the movie itself, if you're not a deep comic book person or a person who has strong opinions on who and what heroes are, I feel like people who follow the thread there, they can enjoy it.
Yeah.
And so I see that. I don't understand Martian Manhunter making booty calls at the end. Like, why are you just showing up at my house without calling ahead first? You're just going to pop over? Let me know you're here?
How are you going to do the Superman flyaway?
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, bitch, where you been all this time?
Right. You didn't know we needed somebody?
Like, we could have used an extra guy that's ultra powerful that can phase through shit. Are you fucking kidding me?
Right. Now you want to show up?
Take your bitch ass back wherever you was.
None of those parademons or Steppenwolf are throwing fire. You're as powerful as Superman, if not more, at that point.
Right.
Yeah, I did not like that Easter egg, man. I was like,
yeah. It was definitely a post-credit scene.
You can take everything and stuff that right back up the butt.
And we had Ryan Choice show up for what?
Just to say we might use him later in a movie if we ever get more money and more time. And so there's a good chance that he's going to get another shot at making additional things for HBO Max.
Look, if DC keeps their cart hitched to Snyder, then they've secured what already is a Marvel supremacy. Marvel fucking just sold us again on a goddamn sitcom.
Yeah.
3 weeks worth in a row.
Sitcom. And we ate it up, and it was the best thing I've watched in a long time. If
it was the only thing people were talking about.
I call it Baby's first Twin Peaks. You know? Yeah. I mean, it wasn't that deep. Like, people are like, oh my God, it's so deep. And I'm like, okay, you don't watch like crazy shit like I do, but
right.
The fact that it got people's feet into a different type of genre, it was able to put a superhero skin on a Lynchian lens now. It's like, dude, what else can superhero stuff work with? And I think that's what we're discovering. You know, like DC is doing straight superhero movies, where Marvel's doing straight genre movies, which I think has the more wider application. So you can go, hey, how about a Big Lebowski superhero movie? You can literally see them doing it. You know why? Because that's what the fuck Doctor Strange was. I just rewatched it and I realized this is an acid trip movie that they put a superhero skin on. So when he pops the drugs, just like with Big Lebowski, and he has this big trippy going through all this crazy, you know, dream logic. This is the same thing with Doctor Strange. That's what I'm saying. Marvel is so genius because they can take genres, they can take any genre and basically slap a superhero story on top of it.
And so they take a famous or well-known or well-loved genre, and then they put something on top of it.
Yeah. They will do it.
Yeah, Terry Huddleston, I gotta let Jim go and get us off of here.
No, Jim's got to stay.
It's been great having you guys talk about the Snyder Cut. So glad to have you on the Hallspace Podcast, this Hall and Hudd episode. Any last thoughts from you, Jim?
I look forward to better movies.
Nice.
What about you, Terry? You could wrap it up.
I mean, I think it's well said that it's not good, guys. I can't believe people are gaslit and thinking that this is what's good. Like
we're also in a drought, so it's the biggest thing. One of the biggest things we've gotten in months.
Drought or no drought, get some integrity in your storytelling.
No,
there are rules. And
we waited 5 years for this. I mean, come on.
It's still terrible, man.
Like
the Whedon cut isn't any worse than this cut.
No.
Yeah.
I think that's just wishful.
And it has so much more context. So much more slow motion context. How about that? I mean, that doesn't mean anything? No? Oh.
I will make a prediction, though.
What's your prediction?
I think once people sober up, they will realize this movie sucks. Just like, I mean, there was a lot of Suicide Squad defenders.
Yeah,
and
true.
Over time, they realized, like, maybe it is kind of shit.
Maybe it wasn't so great.
Yeah, you know, so
thank you, gentlemen. It was such a pleasure to sit down and talk with you for almost, we were at this for 2 hours, at least 2.5.
2.5.
Almost 3. And we're still not as long as the movie itself. So have a good night, and I will talk to you guys later. We'll come back around. We'll definitely have a conversation about Falcon and the Winter Soldier as we get deeper into that. And I look forward to talking to you again.
Can't wait.
All right.
There it is.
Thanks for your time, Jim.
Oh, thanks.
The Hallspace Podcast is brought to you by Hall Productions, LLC. Show notes and credits can be found at our webpage, thehallspacepodcast.wordpress.com. Any questions, comments, or concerns can be sent to us at thehallspacepodcast@gmail.com. The show is written by Daggerpin Davis. Music is curated by DJ Cabal. The show is produced by Chuck Jones and recorded at Slash and Trash Studios. If you like what you hear and you want to hear more, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And I hope you all have a good week.
A damn clapper, man.
No, it's fun.
Amazon Prime.
No, the claps create spikes in the audio.
I know what the claps do. I'm saying get you the fucking thing.
No.
That does it.
I gotta do this.
You ain't gotta do it.
I gotta.
I'm gonna use it as footage to show that you're probably unfit for service once you become something big. Like, look at this Ritch Hall. Just, I know what I'm getting you for some holiday thing.
Damn it, Terry.
The Hollywood clapper.
You're messing me up.
That's because you buy so much shit. Like, you buy everything. You're a hoarder collector.
Nope.
Buy the damn thing that does the thing.
This is good. This is good.
House Hall. We rise brilliantly.